to talk about issues affecting this country and also other important issues. Father, today I want to ask you, Father, you can give more wisdom to our Prime Minister, the Deputy Prime Minister, the ministers, the members of Parliament, and the governors of individual provinces. Father, as we're going towards the 50 years of independence for this country, Father, we're going through a lot of problems and issues affecting this country. Father, you know all our provinces and the districts where we all members of Parliament represent. Today I would like to ask you if you can come before us today, take part in the deliverance and the issues that we will be discussing today. You can lead us through. I would like to ask the Parliament to let's take the Lord's pray.
Our
Father,
who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done on earth as in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our trespasses, as we forgive them that trespass against us. Lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom, the power and glory, forever and ever. Amen. Honourable members, the General Secretary of People's Progress Party has informed the Speaker of the National Parliament that after all due process and formalities required by integrity of political parties and candidates commission, I inform the Parliament that Mr. Douglas Tomoresia, member for Kirwina Goodenough and leader of opposition, is the parliamentary leader of the People's Progress Party effectively of 6 March 2025. Congratulations. Honourable members, I wish to acknowledge the presence of the public gallery of a second batch of teachers and students from Northeast Academy in the National Capital District, undertaking humanities studies in social science, business and science, and teachers and grade 7 and 8 students from St. Maria Gorati Kabuna Primary School, Kuni LLG in the Kairiku District of Central Province. On behalf of the Parliament, I extend the visitors a warm welcome. Are there any petitions? Notices? Clerk?
The Minister for Justice and Attorney General gives notice that is present a bill for an act to repeal the Y2K Fairness in Litigation Act 1999. The Minister for Justice and Attorney General gives notice that is present a bill for an act to repeal the Customs Recognition Act Chapter 19.
Honourable members, question time. The Honourable Member for... we have a point of order. Member for Erie, what's your point of order?
Mr. Deputy Speaker, yesterday during the course of a question without notice, I had a supplementary which was ruled as a fresh question, that there was an undertaking from the Chair that this question would be, that this people of Inquiry will be entertained this morning. First, as the first question.
Okay, Honourable Member, you resume your seat. Honourable Member, your point of order is in order. I made a commitment to honour you to give your question this morning. I was still looking around who to ask for a question, and you reminded the chair. So, Honourable Member for War Warrior, I'll come call for you in the next question. So I'll give this to the member for Kiriwina, member for Hiri, to ask his question. Member for Hiri.
Thank you, Deputy Speaker. So, Deputy Speaker, when asked about the independent audit currently being carried out by Deloitte on the current Connect PNG program, the good Prime Minister said he would not stop the Connect PNG program even during the course of the investigations. My questions are quite brief, and there's only fourfold to the good Prime Minister. Firstly, what is the running total of public funds expended so far on this Connect PNG program since its inception in 2019? Number two, would the good Prime Minister agree that there is suggestion that the cash flow shortage in the current budget implementation is caused by the Connect PNG program? And would the Prime Minister also agree that the cause of the decline in the MPAs, or the minimum priority activities, as referred to in the report tabled by the good Minister for Provincial and Local Level Governments, Honourable Soroi Merapo Eoe, is the direct result of the irresponsible and careless spending into this Connect PNG program? And that is a report that is pertaining to the period commencing 2018 to 2022.
Honourable Member, we have a point of order. Member for Karamui. Mani, what's your point of order?
Minister for Works and Highways in chamber today. These questions relates to matters involving the Minister for Works and Highways. So it will be proper for the good leader for Hirikoer to direct the questions to the relevant portfolio minister. Thank you.
Honourable Member for Karamui nominee, you resume your seat. I'll make a ruling on your point of order. It is at the discretion of a member to ask whoever, if you want to ask direct to the minister responsible, he will ask. If you want to ask the Prime Minister, who is the head of the NEC or is the head of the ministers, and if you want to ask direct to the Prime Minister, it's at the discretion of who asks the question. So I will allow the member to continue on with your question.
Thank you, Deputy Speaker, for that enlightenment to the good member for Karamui Nomane. The final question, and so before I was rudely interrupted, Mr. Deputy Speaker, the report is for a period commencing 2018 to 2022, which is a period when or about the Connect PNG program was also introduced and has been aggressively implemented in this country. The question is, who is telling the truth? Is the report by the Provincial Local Government Department flawed, or is this economic cash flow problem a fallacy and it's a misunderstanding? Those are my questions, Mr. Speaker.
The Honourable Prime Minister.
All right, thank you, Mr. Deputy Speaker, for your stewardship over this session, and I appreciate the question put across by the member for Hiri. I want to also acknowledge our children, our students who are in the public gallery. Mr. Deputy Speaker, I want to, the three questions. Firstly, say that Connect PNG allocations is not over and above what was budgeted. We have under this government a weekly budget management committee meeting that goes on every week. In fact, Tuesdays at 10 o'clock, the Treasurer chairs this meeting. And this meeting does allow for finance, treasury, planning, customs, IRC, And once in a while, I do sit in this meeting just to see how we are doing in as far as managing cash flow is concerned. So the Connect PNG doesn't eat into budgets allocation for other key sectors. Mr. Deputy Speaker, I want to point all of us to Treasury's website, www.treasury.gov.pg. You got final budget outcomes of every year that is put out by Treasury, and for this year's or for last year's actual financial disbursements and our record, the Treasurer sometimes next week will be handing down the final budget outcome for 2024. Therein lies for everyone to see the expenditures of any year that governments does pass through.
We have a point of order. Honourable Member, what's your point of order?
Speaker, the first question is very simple. Running total of the program thus far, from 2019 to today, there should be a global figure. And according to this program,
Honourable Minister, we have a point of order. The member is still.
The question is how much so far the people of Papua New Guinea have paid to this Connect PNG program to this date. As of today's date, what's the running total?
Honourable Member, I understand the Prime Minister is just starting on with the reply to your question, and let's allow the Prime Minister to finish his reply. Prime Minister.
Thank you, Mr. Deputy Speaker. I know the member for Hiri is anxious to get the answers, but I am answering the second question, and I will come to the first question the way I want to order the response. The second question asks whether the Connect PNG allocation is eating into the fund for this year or as it was for last year. And so I'm prefixing my answer with information that should inform all of us in the country, because this is a question that brings into the mind of every citizen and stakeholder of our country and economy the ability of this government to manage its budget. And so I want to point to everyone. Our final budget outcome 2023, our final budget outcome 2022, and henceback. And you can look into every year for as long as data is available. It goes back to governments of past. But our final budget outcome 2023, I point to that year especially, is an indication of prudency of how we manage our budget. Almost 100% delivery on commitments to our country in 2023. Now, Treasurer will pass the budget, final budget outcome for 2024 next week. And we are not ashamed to tell it as it is, what happened last year. And the country will know what happened last year. But to answer his question, I want to admit on this floor of Parliament, Connect PNG never ate into other fund allocations. Connect PNG consumed its own space. Nothing more, nothing less. Nothing more, nothing less. The Connect PNG Act says that governments going forward must allocate 5.6% of any budget to finance our roads in our country. And so within the envelope of budgets that we've allocated in 2024, Connect PNG program tried to stick to it. So Connect PNG never consumed other spaces. Connect PNG never influenced the underperformance of our revenue collection elsewhere. And I want to give full assurance to the member who asked the question that the total running total of Connect PNG expenditure, I do not have it on my phone as I speak today. Information has been requested. Tomorrow, if not next week, Tuesday, when Parliament resumes, we will present to the floor the running total of all spending on Connect PNG thus far, so that the country is fully informed. The country is fully informed on the investment happening. Connect PNG may seem like a scam to some of you, but to some areas, road is going into areas road have never seen before. And so this is happening. Over the weekend, I drove through Gare and returned, and a good member for Hiri knows where Gare is. It's my village as much as his village by adoption. I drove there. Whilst the road may not be world class, but some little work is happening today. The last time I was there, road maintenance was passing through Tubusere. Today it's pushing to Barakau and almost hitting Gare as we speak. And let's connect PNG at work, trying our very best to try to help all parts of our country, including the Hiri Koari electorate. So we will give full report as to exactly how much was spent since Connect PNG Act came into place. So there's transparency in this one. And the Works Minister, in fact, has a paper to present to this Parliament in as far as the Works annual report is concerned. The paper also would sufficiently address some of the recurrent questions that surface in as far as Connect PNG is concerned. The investigation that is running is meant to assist the program. If the acts of impropriety established by this investigation, we will not cover those acts of impropriety. We don't want a good program that is intended to bring roads to all parts of our country to be tainted, if not hampered, by corruption or illicit practice. If it does happen, there is the intention why we call for, we ask or sanction an audit that is run by credible people outside of government circles. And I want to also confirm the MPA report or the report from the provincial and local level government department at the minister table is an indication on lack of Section 119 reporting, and also made reference to Section 114 reporting in as far as organic law and provincial and local level government is concerned. It's reporting of basic reports that every administrator, and mind you, all provincial administrators have devolved Section 32 powers of the Finance Secretary. So it's prudent. And same instruction has gone to all departments. Last night I was reading through the Auditor General's report that was tabled here. It is just not good enough when department heads are not reporting, and governors or ministers also get the blame of reports not coming. So the MPA is an indication of the generic lack of performance below all the systems that we manage. And I want to say part of this is us acknowledging where the problem is, and all of us stepping to work and bring work up to standard as we speak. The MPAs, or the rest of the sectoral funding has not been, we've not taken funding away from them and just finance Connect PNG. Connect PNG, what was budgeted for, we take from them and finance Connect PNG. Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I hope the answer is sufficient.
We have a supplementary. The Honourable Governor for his speak.
Thank you, Deputy Speaker, and I welcome the commitment by the Prime Minister on these matters that require transparency. Just for, if he could also give consideration based on his response, there is one matter that still requires transparency on the floor, and that is in this report that he has indicated that the good minister is going to bring. Could they also include the total running value of the contracts into the future, and which years those contracts will become due, and the impact of those contracts on future budgets pertaining to the requirements of Section 209 of the Constitution? The second point, if the Prime Minister could give us a commitment, is I understand much of the funding for Connect PNG is coming out of Oktedi, is coming out of Kutubu, and it's coming out of Kumul Petroleum Holdings and a host of other companies in terms of tax credit. Could you also tell the House how much of Connect PNG is being funded through the tax credit scheme, and what is the impact, because you are taking out future revenue? Again, I remind you of Section 209 of the Constitution. If you could tell the House and give us some transparency. The other thing I would like to know is there a definition of which roads qualify as Connect PNG roads and which roads are provincial roads or district roads? Because the MPA covers provincial and district roads. So if either the minister or the prime minister, based on his current undertaking, could tell the country which roads qualify to be funded under Connect PNG and which roads do not. Finally, the Prime Minister made a reference to the final budget outcome, and I've made mention before, Deputy Speaker, and since the good Prime Minister has given this House and the people of Papua New Guinea an undertaking, I'd like him to go further. In the 2023 FBO, a total of 980 million was moved from health, education, law and order, and a whole host of important sectors and paid to certain provinces. And that is clearly indicated in the 2023 FBO. Could the Prime Minister also give the people of Papua New Guinea an undertaking to bring a report to the floor that indicates which provinces were paid these funds and for what purposes? Thank you, Mr. Deputy Speaker.
Honourable Prime Minister.
All right, thank you, Mr. Deputy Speaker. These are important questions. And firstly, in response to the last question from the member for ECPIC, the report as part of the need for him and all of us to know will be brought back to this Parliament, and I will give this undertaking. All spending of government is within budget. And I want to say to all members of Parliament and to the country through this question that no spending should be made outside of the budget, and in my view, considered view, no spending under this government has taken place outside of the budget process. In any case, the Treasury has Section 3 powers, but those Section 3 powers were used within considered measure and within the provisions of budget. All provinces allocation, some provinces have, for instance, Bougainville, Enga Province, Morobe, Hela, Southern Highlands, Western Province. Some of these provinces have budgets allocation labeled as IDG or constitutional grant. But those full report will be presented to this floor. It's a question asked and demands answer. And so I will extract the 2023 budget performances and present to this Parliament, if not through the Treasury and other relevant ministers, then through myself, so that the members of Parliament and the country can know how we spent in 2023. But in the case of those who really want to set quick answers, the final budget outcome 2023 is there for all of us to ascertain. But coming back to the Connect PNG program and the question whether we encroach on Section 209 of the Constitution, I want to say that the Connect PNG Implementation and Financing Act 2021 envelopes 5.6% of any budget year allocation to roads in our country. And so within that envelope, we have 3 phases of Connect PNG. Stage 1 or Phase 1, Stage 2, and Stage 3. All are running for the next 20 years. So if you look prospective into the future, there's an envelope of 5.6% of any year's financial allocation or fiscal allocation to finance Connect PNG going forward into the future. This government has taken a bold initiative, whether financing by ICT, infrastructure tax credit, or financing by deficit budget, or financing through budgets, or financing through securing loan domestic or externally. We want to open this country up with roads. No secret. Road is not for those who sleep and eat and operate in Port Moresby or urban areas of our country. Every citizen, including those who come from Kariku, my children sitting upstairs, so close yet so far. A few months ago, I drove to York City, Yoka, so close yet so far. Do we sit back and cry and said, no, it's okay, it's okay? Or we borrow for tomorrow and build the road today? I am not a pessimist conservative person. If my country is going to expand 10, 15, 20 years, I need to start the expansion today. A few years back, someone was criticizing someone as smart as he or she, or he claimed to be, was criticizing the O'Neill government. And he said he will never drive on the flyway. Today he's driving on the flyway with no credit to Mr. O'Neill, who had the ability to borrow to build the road. My brothers, you can remain pessimists and see from a pessimist view.
Honourable Prime Minister, we have a point of order. Deputy Opposition Leader, what's your point of order?
Mr. Speaker, no one's a pessimist about the Connect PNG program. Our argument is the quality of spend. If you're in the business of giving contracts to ministers at the value of 247 million, it creates a question about the quality of spend.
Honourable Deputy
Bring your
Opposition
reports
Leader.
to the House and be more accountable.
Honourable Deputy Opposition Leader, if you want to debate the answers given by the Prime Minister, I would not allow for it, so I'll rule your point of order out of order. Prime Minister, you continue from your reply.
All right, I'll keep it short. The Connect PNG investigation is running. I look forward to the outcome of Deloitte's report. And the Deloitte's report will go through whether there were impropriety in the act of tendering, procurement, and the financial disbursements, and etc. Deloitte's report will point to us what has happened in the Works Department, Finance Department, Treasury, Prime Minister's Department, right through the clockwork of our government system. But one thing I must say, the country needs roads. And so we have secured 5.6%.
Honourable Governor, what's your point of order?
Respectfully, with great respect to the Prime Minister and his very long answer, my questions were very specific.
Order.
My questions were very specific. The Prime Minister said that next week they were going to bring a report to Parliament, and my questions were in relation to him making a commitment to bring those answers in next week's presentation, which he himself said would be forthcoming. And he's given a very broad answer. The question I asked was, could they also include the total contracts issued? 1. 2, how much of that is coming out of tax credit? 3, the 980 million that was moved out of essential sectors in 2023 to certain provinces, could he bring that report to Parliament? So, Mr. Deputy Speaker, I think my questions were very specific, and I just need the Prime Minister to say yes or no whether that information could be brought next week.
Honourable Governor, your point of order was in order in what you have asked for, and let's allow the Prime Minister to complete the reply to you. Prime Minister.
So repetition is for emphasis, so he's taken a second bite in asking the same questions again under the cover of point of order. Mr. Speaker, these are important questions. The reports that he wants will be tabled in Parliament. Connect PNG is given within, Connect PNG is funded rather within the 5.6% resource envelope and has a prospective life. We're looking at a 20-year financing envelope and a combination of financing from ICT, from budget, direct budget support. All this is looked at so that at the very earliest we unbundle our country of being left behind and bring our country into connected with each other, especially in our efforts to get agricultural produces and our people out into the mainstream economy. So those will be given. I don't think we have encroached upon Section 209 of our Constitution as far as budgeting is concerned. It respects budgets and it has a year-by-year allocation based on the support it receives from the specific act that governs Connect PNG. I want to give full assurance that the report will come. And ICT project, ICT, the indication of tax credit. Tax credit is earning that revenue. Instead of waiting to earn the revenue every year, 5, 10, 15, 20 years down the line, we're trying to earn that revenue earlier at no additional costs. The conventional, the opposite will be going to a bank, borrowing at 8%, 9%, 10% interest charge. Borrow this money, finance this road. We're trying to use our own resource envelope within and alleviate the tightness of budget and finance other sectors, and if areas that could be financed with ICT-based projects, then we finance based using ICT. Those full report will be presented to this Parliament, so the country has a clear view on what's happening in works. It was in this context that we called for Deloitte and an international engineering firm to do that investigation. They're running. This is budget for Connect PNG will be used to finance those contracts that has been lettered out, but all within full awareness that the investigator is running. And I look forward to the final outcome of this investigation. But the other details sought by the two questions asked from the opposition will be relayed to this Parliament, if not by myself, by relevant ministers, so that the country is better informed. Thank you for the opportunity to respond to these questions. Important questions, nonetheless, for our country to know. Thank you.
Member for Waware.
Thank you. Thank you, Acting Speaker. Deputy Speaker. Lo luksa lo people lo morbe lo this session. Speaker, Deputy Speaker, my question without
Honourable Member for Waware, let me come back to your word of addressing the chair. In the absence of our speaker, you're right by saying the acting speaker. Go ahead with your question.
Thank you, Acting Speaker. Acting Speaker, my question without notice is directed to the good Minister of State-Owned Enterprise, Honourable William Duma. Before I ask the question, I would like to give some background. This with regard to the electricity issues in Leh City. As I think, please let me ask my question. Like Leh City, everyone knows that Leh City is the second, we are talking about cities, and Leh City is the second largest city in this country. And it is also the industrial hub and manufacturing hub, and also the biggest port in this country. And it is the second garden, everlasting garden of this country too. It generates a lot of GST. And over all these years, we are having unstable, intolerable electricity issues in Leh City. And this has affected businesses, this has affected residents, and affected everyone. We are suffering in Leh City. This issue has been going on for like ever now, Mr. Speaker. Now, whether you're in government or opposition, you will still suffer.
Order.
Electricity affects everyone, whether in government or opposition. But especially now, this question is for the people of Leh and people of Morobe. We would like to know, as the good Minister of State-Owned enterprise responsible for electricity, has any solution for the power problem in Leh. And not only Leh, we have also power problems in Makam, my good Deputy Speaker, Acting Speaker. Up your highway, there's issues with power. And also Bulolo, we have faced Jenek, which Bulolo district hosts Jenek farm, which produces chicken for this country. And PNG Forest. This district is also facing electricity problem too. And also Wawarea too.
Honourable Member for Wawarea, you ask your question.
Yeah,
I have a greater conflict of interest in your question, so please ask that question.
So, my good Minister, I think we can leave the towns aside, but the city we can, if the good minister can give an answer to the people of, to the business houses and the people of Leh, what solutions he has for the electricity issue in Leh, and what is he doing? And when are we expecting this solutions to be provided. And can the good minister keep the people of Lae and the business houses of Lae informed and updated on a quarterly or monthly basis on what they are doing in terms of the power issues in Lae? Thank you.
Honorable Minister for State Enterprise, I have to declare my interest in that question, so I would expect to hear an answer from you.
Thank you, Acting Speaker, and I'd like to thank the member for Warrior for this question, very important question. First, I want to point out that as Minister responsible for PNG Power, I don't have a private generator in my house. I don't even have a separate power connection to my house in Hagen. So when there's a blackout either in Port Moresby or in Hagen, I am in the same boat as all of you. I go to the same inconvenience like all of us. Now, for the city of Lae, just like many others, including WOW and Bulolo, we have two kinds of solutions, one long-term and a short-term solution. Lae gets its power from three sources. One from the main Rama grid from Yonke down, one from the Korean group POSCO, and the other one from PNG Forest Products. That power source supplies at least 10 megawatts to the city of Lae. Unfortunately for all of us, a contract that has been given to a Chinese company to conduct a thorough rehabilitation and upgrade of the systems at Yonke is taking longer than expected, partly to a combination of incompetence on our part. We've realized this problem and we have given this contractor a deadline. And under this contract, we cannot do much except to threaten them and to give a deadline. And hopefully before the end of this year, this much needed rehabilitation work will be completed and then full capacity will be restored. So they will be able to service not only Lae, Mori province, but the rest of the islands province and Medang. We're also looking at providing power to this very important city of Lae through a 15 megawatt solar farm that has been developed. KCH has bought the land for 10 million kina, and we are now undergoing a tender process where a contractor has been selected to install the solar project at the cost of KCH and PNG Power. And we've also been talking to the Deputy Prime Minister and the member for Lae about a possible power source provided by a vessel, maritime-based vessel. And discussions are ongoing, and we hope to be able to finalize that as long as PNG Power and this contractor agree on the power price. PNG Power has been settled with uneconomic power purchase agreement in the past, where I must also emphasize these leaders that PNG Power has entered into arrangements where, rather than following the normal course of agreeing and paying for the actual energy supplied and provided by those IPPs, under the agreement, PNG Power is expected to pay for the cost of depreciation, capital recovery costs, which are unheard of in the industry. This were done when my predecessor, someone who's no longer around to defend himself, was alive. And we have been working very hard to untangle ourselves from this mess. And it is not that easy. On top of that, when we have the single largest customer who also has to juggle with the competing interests of this country from a limited budget to actually take care of paying for the bills, we hope that we have those challenges. But that is not to say that PNG Power and its shareholder have not done anything, have sat back and done nothing. We have been actively looking at providing long-term as well as short-term solutions to the city of Lae. And we have made some improvements. And I have kept our Deputy Prime Minister and the member for Lae involved regularly. But if it is a wish of the members from Mori Province that they wish to be informed regularly, I can of course inform them periodically if they want. But I have been doing my part by informing the Deputy Prime Minister and the member for Lae. So I must on behalf of PNG Power and apologize. I do not feel embarrassed apologizing, but this is a thing that we're working very hard. We have not ignored the problems that have been faced by a very, very important city in Leh. And even the members of the Chamber of Commerce bombard me daily. So, but that comes with leadership, and we are doing those things. But I want to thank the good member for Warrior for this important question, and I can assure him and our people from Leh that it is not that this government and, of course, the Ministry of State Enterprise have sat back and done nothing. We are doing everything we can to make sure we restore and maintain a consistent, reliable supply of power, not only to Leh, but the rest of the islands and Medan. Thank you, Mr. Acting Speaker.
We have a supplementary. The Honourable Member for Sinasina Yangon.
Thank you, Mr. Acting Speaker. Energy supply, electricity supply is a foundation to our economy. So we cannot be playing football with it. If there's a practical problem, we must come to practical solutions very fast. Not kicking it down the field forever and forever. 5 years ago, we were on this floor, same minister, sitting in the same chair when discussing the edible power and the dairy power supply into Port Moresby, said by December in that year, power supply problems for Port Moresby will be history. 5 years later, we still have the same problems. Leh has the same problems. Kundiawa has the same problems. Everywhere in Papua New Guinea we work, we have the same problems. Nobody's offering any solution. Where's the leadership? Who's the leader?
Honourable,
the leader is
Honourable
the
Member,
minister.
what's your supplementary?
Supplementary? I got 2 supplementary questions. How long does it have to take to find out practical solutions to the power supply problem in this country? How long? This minister has been the Minister for State of Enterprise for more than 10 years. Now, when are we going to have the solutions? Mr. Prime Minister, what is the Prime Minister doing about this lack of performance? Lack of alternatives.
Honourable Member, if you start calling Prime Minister and others, it will be, the supplementary question will be out of...
Point of order, Mr. Speaker.
Honourable Prime Minister, what's your point of order?
Mr. Speaker, Section 141 of our standing order does inform all of us not to use imputations, inferences, assumptions, he can go straight asking his questions, not making imputations.
Yes, Honourable Prime Minister, that is why I'm trying to get to the Honourable Member to get straight to your question instead of calling other members. You know, it's supplementary, and that supplementary question I was listening to is at least you do a supplementary question to an issue in Leh, which the Honourable Member for Warrior is raising question, and that question you are now taking it to other part of the province is like a new question,
it's
not in supplementary.
Leh is part of Papua New Guinea. Unless it's something happened in Leh that I don't know.
Okay, I'll allow you to go straight to your
Number
question,
2.
Honourable Member.
Number 2, if that government, of which the minister is part of, have no solution to putting a decisive end to our power problems, Leh and in Papua New Guinea, can they now bite the bitter pill, bite the bullet, sell the whole shooting match, sell PNG Power, privatize it, just like we did with PNGBC, Papua New Guinea Banking Corporation, and we have been doing very well out of it, out of the resulting company, which is Bank of South Pacific. If we can do well, a lot better by privatizing a state-owned enterprise, being PNGBC, why don't we do the same thing here with PNG Power and put an end to these problems? Because private sector know how to operate a business, not the government.
Here, here.
Honourable Member, I was thinking to rule your supplementary question out of order, but you have already completed the question, so I'll allow the Minister to respond to that. I think the issue of power in the country is an issue that everybody is facing, so I'll allow the Minister to respond to the question the Honourable Member for Sirasina Yongumul have raised.
Thank you, Acting Speaker. I want to thank the Member for Sirasina Yongumul for his important question. I want to start by pointing out that no single minister in any government provides solutions to every problem. Even himself, when he was the Minister for Justice and even the Minister of Petroleum and Energy. And if he's asking for a leader, yes, I'm the minister responsible.
All initiatives come from the minister. All initiatives. Minister for Mining cannot interfere in state-owned enterprises. No minister for health. So anything to do with SOEs starts from the office of the Minister for State-owned Enterprise. He has to initiate it. That's the point. Let's not pass the buck.
Honourable Member, I'll rule your point of order out of order because when you call for the point of order, I haven't asked you yet, and you went ahead and raised a point of order. Then I'll allow the Minister to continue.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. If the member wants to get publicity, that is his problem. All I'm saying is that when he was minister himself, he didn't even deliver. He didn't deliver, so there's no point in us scoring points here. And if he's asking for a leadership, I am the leader here, like himself. No minister, not prime minister, can provide solutions to every problem in this country. And contrary to what the good member is saying, I was not minister for 10 years. That is a complete distortion of facts. Not 10 years. I took over in 2017 from the late Ben Micah. He declared a state of emergency. He tried within his means to turn around PNG power. He wasn't able to do it in 2 years. And then I was minister for 2 years, from 2017 until 2019. 2 years. And when Prime Minister Marabe took over, he appointed me minister in 2022, or 2020. So it is not true for the good member to claim that I was minister for 10 years. So you should check his facts. Like every other minister and every other prime minister, provide solutions. And I've always been frank and open about the things that we are doing to turn this country around. We can start blaming each other and blame on legacy issues, but these are things when we try to do everything that we can within a short period of time, the results don't immediately show themselves. But I can say this. If you look at the facts and the statistics, the frequency of blackouts in this country have been reduced significantly. We're now looking at trying to manage the issues in Wewak, for example, even in Kimbe. These are sea centers who don't deliver any profits for this company. They are sea centers. In the case of Leh, which is a profitable center, we've tried our best to manage it, and we will still get there eventually. So it is not for us to point fingers at each other and claim political mileage. We're doing our best. So in the case of blackouts right throughout the country, as I said earlier, we must put things in context. There are many other sea centers which don't even provide a return for PNG Power. Yet we expect PNG Power to make a profit. And because it's ultimately owned by our people, PNG Power has no choice but to set aside money to continue to operate unprofitable centers, all in the name of development for our country. Those are the challenges we are going through. It is not easy. We have three profitable centers, mainly Port Moresby, Leh, and the Warrangoid grid in Eastern Britain. The rest, most of them are sea centers. So we are trying to do our best. In the case of Port Moresby, for example, it is not as if the government has not allocated money. The government allocated 111 million kina as its contribution to the development of the Edebu project. Most of you will have seen the large, brand new transmission towers and the lines crisscrossing Port Moresby. And we now have reliability, at least reliable service in Port Moresby now. On top of that, the government also allocated 112 million kina to PNG Power to help fund.
Honourable Governor from Morobe, what's your point of order?
Point of order. Minister is trying to explain his inability to solve this problem. Continue to do it. Don't think that we are stupid people sitting in this parliament. We are intelligent people sitting in this parliament. We represent our people. People have given us the mandate to be here. Now, the honourable member for Sinasana Yongomul has asked a valid question to you. Supplementary question. He said the PNG power has failed this nation to solve the problem of power provisions in this country. Because without power, this country is not going to move. That is why he has proposed, and it's a valid question, point to you, is to answer. What are we going to do? What are we going to do with PNG power? Are we going to continue to have them there? Or as he's proposing, have them vacated and privatize it so that other people who can do the job can come in? And that is a valid question and valid point, and this country wants to know, and don't beat around the bush.
Honourable Minister, you make your reply.
The good governor is very impatient. He thinks he has all the answers, but he doesn't. Against that background, you must also remember that we as a government have never allowed PNG Power to increase its prices. No tariff increase for the last couple of years, for the last 10 years, for example. And we're already aware that this government, led by our Prime Minister, made a decision to privatize PNG Power. And we are partial privatization, and we are going through that process. I'm surprised our good governor is not aware of that. He has been reading, I suppose. So,
I would accept that blame. I will not.
You don't have to.
I speak on behalf of
Honourable Governor. Honourable Governor, if you want to make a point of order. Honourable Governor. Honourable Governor of Morobe. Honourable members, when you call for a point of order, you wait for the chair to ask you to raise your point of order. You don't just take point of order and stand up and speak as you wish. So, honourable member, thank you. Allow the minister to complete your reply. We have another point of order. Honourable member for Abao.
Honourable Acting Speaker, the time is ticking, and yesterday you made a commitment to extend question time today.
The honourable member, I remember I don't make a commitment. It is the House that will ask to extend the time, and I cannot make a commitment to extend with my own power. So, honourable member, your point of order is out of order. I'll allow the minister, if you have a reply, otherwise our question time slaps.
Yeah. Thank you, Acting Speaker. Just to summarize, I don't have to agree to the governor's views, nor does he have to agree. What I'm saying is this. Our government has already announced in public that PNG Power will be partially privatized. So I've answered the good member for Sinasana Yongomul's question. So what is the governor from Morobe on about? That decision was made in December last year, and it is going through a process.
Order.
Selling, Mr. Acting Speaker, selling a company like PNG Power will not be done through a fire sale. Everyone wants to buy it at a cheap price. It is a strategic national asset of this country. And if we are going down the path of public privatization, we have got to make sure that we go through the books properly, proper valuation is done so that our people do get a return for the investment. We are not in the business of selling companies just for the sake of selling. Like PNGBC, for example. Thank you, Mr. Acting Speaker.
Honourable members, our question time has lapsed. Leader of Government Business.
Mr. Acting Speaker, I ask leave of Parliament to move a motion without notice.
Leave granted.
Mr. Acting Speaker, I move that so much of the standing orders be suspended as would prevent notice number 139, 141, 142, and 143 government business being called on forthwith.
The question is that the motion be agreed to. Those in favor say aye. Aye. Those against say no. Ayes have it. Clerk.
Notice number 141, Minister for Rural and Economic Development. Sorry.
Minister for Community Development, Religion and Youth.
Mr. Speaker, I present the Community Development Bill 2025.
Clerk.
First reading, a bill for an act A, to establish the National Community Development System, and B, to implement and coordinate the functions of the department responsible for community development and religious matters at the subnational levels to a centralized manner.
Minister for Community Development, Religion and Youth.
Mr. Speaker, I move the bill be now read a second time.
Make your speech, Minister.
Mr. Speaker, Prime Minister, and the honorable members of Parliament, it is with deep sense of responsibility and profound commitment to the people of Papua New Guinea that I stand before you to present the Community Development Bill 2025. The bill is not just a piece of legislation, it is a transformative framework designed to address the systematic challenges that have hindered our nation's progress in delivering essential service to our most vulnerable and marginalized population. The bill represents a significant milestone in the government's commitment in improving the lives of our people, particularly those in rural and remote places. It's a direct response to the gaps in service delivery, coordination, protection, and empowerment that have persisted for almost 50 years. Mr. Speaker, the need for the bill cannot be overstated. For decades, our community development functions are being fragmented, underfunded, and inconsistently implemented. The lack of a coordination mechanism has led to inefficiencies, duplication of efforts, and a failure to adequately address the needs of all our most vulnerable population, persons with disability, the elderly, the women, children, youth, and survivors of gender-based violence, including the survivors of social acquisition-related violence. Mr. Speaker, the organic law on the provincial and local level of government provides the existing framework for decentralization of powers and functions to ensure service delivery at subnational level. However, in practice, the same system has proven to be ineffective and dysfunctional for effective and efficient delivery of community development services at the subnational level for over the past 49 years. The underlying cause of ineffective service delivery was the lack of established mechanism to ensure coordination of implementation of community development function. This legislation will enable the Department of Community Development and Religion to effectively coordinate the protection and empowerment function of the department at the sub-national level. More so, the protecting and empowerment the marginalized and vulnerable population requires collaborative and coordinated efforts from all of the relevant stakeholders as required by the Community Development Bill 2025. Mr. Speaker, allow me to outline the key features of Community Development Bill 2025. The bill calls for establishment of district community development centers. These centers will serve as a primary mechanism for delivering community service development at sub-national level. They will ensure that the essential services such as social protection, economic empowerment, gender equality initiatives are accessible to all, particularly those in rural and remote areas. The bill also calls for the creation of National Community Development Advisory Committee. This committee will coordinate efforts between national, provincial, and local level government, as well as with civil society organizations, churches, and development partners. It will ensure that all stakeholders work together towards common goal, avoiding duplication of efforts and ensuring the efficient use of resources. Furthermore, the bill will not only call for development of community development sector plan, it will also strengthen the monitoring and reporting mechanism specifically for the community development sector, consequently involving sector planning, equitable resources allocation, transparency, accountability, and service delivery. Mr. Speaker, for effective collaboration, resource distribution, and for efficient protection and empowerment service delivery, the bill requires all the international development partners, non-governmental organizations, and civil society organizations to register their plans and activities with the Department of Community Development and Religion. This will ensure that their efforts are aligned with the national priorities and contribute to the overall development goals of our nation. Mr. Speaker, the Community Development Bill 2025 is fully aligned with our national development goals. It supports Pillar 1, Human Capital Development, Gender, Youth, and People. Pillar 3, Institutional Development and Service Delivery of the Vision 2050. It also aligns with Strategic Priority Area number 11, Population Dynamics and Development of the Medium-Term Development for 2023 to 2025. Mr. Speaker, the tabling of the bill is the result of collaboration and commitment of all relevant stakeholders. I would like to take this opportunity to acknowledge the tireless efforts of the Department of Community Development and Religion under the leadership of the Secretary, Mr. Ubase, and the Technical Working Group that includes representatives from the Constitutional and Law Reform Commission, the Office of the State Solicitor, the Office of the First Legislative Council, the Department of Justice and Attorney General, the Department of National Planning and Monitoring, the Department of Provincial and Local Level Government, the Department of Implementation and Rural Development, the National Economic Fiscal Commission, the Department of Finance, and the Department of Treasury. Allow to the legal consultation to ensure relevance of the bill and alignment of the bill to exist legislations and policy framework proceeded the submission and statutory endorsement of the bill. As such, the First Legislative Council issued a certificate of compliance on 12 March 2025. I also extend my gratitude to the National Executive Council under the leadership of our Prime Minister, Honorable James Marabe, for endorsing this bill and recognizing the importance in our nation's development agenda. Furthermore, I'd like to acknowledge the invaluable contributions of our development partners, non-governmental organizations, civil society organizations, churches, and the community-based organizations. Your efforts have made a significant impact on the lives of our people, and the bill seeks to build on your work by creating a more coordinated and effective framework for our community development. Mr. Speaker, the passage of this bill will mark a new chapter in our nation's journey towards inclusion and sustainable development. It will empower our community, strengthening our institutional and ensure that no one is left behind. I urge all honourable members of Parliament to support this bill and join us in building a Papua New Guinea where every citizen, regardless of their background, circumstances, has the opportunity to live a life of dignity, security and prosperity. Let us all work together to create a nation where our children can grow up in safe and supportive environment, where our women are empowered to reach their full potential, where our youth have access to education and employment opportunities, where our elderly and persons with disabilities are treated with respect and care they deserve. Mr. Speaker, the Community Development Bill 2025 is more than just a piece of legislation. It is a promise to the people of Papua New Guinea. It is a promise that will not rest until every citizen has access to the service and opportunities that they need to thrive. It is a promise that we will work tirelessly to build a nation that is inclusive, equitable, and prosperous. I call on the honourable members of Parliament to support this bill and join us in making this promise a reality. Together, we build a better future for Papua New Guineans. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
The Honourable Member for Kandep.
Thank you, Deputy Speaker. I stand to support the Minister, and I think many papers like this have been produced, but I think this is one of those best papers that addresses human uses in Papua New Guinea and honourable attention. I think Peter deserves the support of all of us in this particular bill. Mr. Deputy Speaker, let me just touch one area. There's many areas that this bill is looking at, but I'll touch one area that I heard him mention. It is in his speech about the cohesion of LLGs, human capital development. He mentioned the social cohesion, but in the word level, I'd like to touch in that area so that the Minister can take that into consideration. And I'll, Deputy Speaker, with your indulgence, just give an example of what I have seen happen in my own district. Deputy Speaker, you will know, the nation knows, that Anga is one of those tribal conflict, frequented tribal conflict area. We have seen it spilled to other parts of PNC too. And how it starts at the grassroots level where we overlook the human factor of social and economic development. And that then develops into law and order issues. And we hear most of the times, we criticize the Minister of Police, the Police Commissioner, and other law enforcement agents. However, the real issue, if you root it down and look at it very carefully and zoom it into it, it is there in the social, the human attitude, human character, human development, right in the grassroots level. That then, if it is not looked at and the goodness of the people on the grassroots level in the LLGs in the word, not properly cultivated, then the opposite happens, that develops into the negative aspect of life. The positive energy our young people have is now converted into doing something negative rather than doing something positive, and that we have seen illustrated many times over in this country. In Kandep, we've had many tribal warfares. We've had in one stage 22 young men just drowned in the Lai River. I've had people, warriors on tribes, they're killing each other. They burn down some of those infrastructures that we have humbly established for our people, burn down into ashes because of the feud that exists between these tribal people. And even police go in. We spend a lot of money to set up camps in Kandep Station or in various sub-districts of the electorate in order to appease these tensions and these confrontations and volatility of tribal violence and tribal killing. Is it because the police are select? No. Is it because the government is select? No. Is it because we are not putting service in the district level? No. That is because we are not addressing the human being. the human being at the grassroots level. We've been looking at the macro level. We're doing all right. Big things up here. We're giving so much money to the police, the other government departments, the public service, etc. But they don't trickle down. So the problem is at the ward level. And what I have done, Mr. Deputy Speaker, is maybe because I've been with my people for a longer time, so it opened my eyes. Sometimes in the past, I had failed to address that issue. But now I think consistently addressing them, I've realized it is right at the ward level. So what we have done, Minister, would take note of this through you, the Chair, is that we should look at the power, the ward, the LLC, the council of ward. The council of ward is where 1,000 people, 3,000 people are inhabiting that particular ward. And there's a councillor there, and you have the ward people there. So if this bill is addressing the LLCs, like I hear the minister saying, then that will then trickle down to the ward level, because the ward level will have its own ward committees established by the organic law. So if you have 3 tiers of government there, the national, provincial, and the local level of government, you empower the local level government by establishing ward committees as per the organic law, and the council is responsible, and you empower these ward committees in the ward level. In Kandep, what we have done is we have 74 wards in Kandep district, and we have now created about 4 LLGs, but before that we were 2 LLGs, but 74 wards. So we have created 74 ward committees representing the tribals, clans, and we have also put in a woman, represent the women, some business people in there as well. So it's a collective representation of the people in that particular ward. And then the council is a chairperson, and there's somebody else who's a deputy. We have mixed very carefully with the women as well as with the men, but also we have put in varied age groups, young and old, and so forth. So over the last 5 years, what I've seen, Mr. Deputy Speaker, is that Kandep, we had this frequent trouble fight that comes in from either Hanger in, other parts of Hanger in, or from Kandep out. It has now been diffused. And I said, how did we do that? I have realized that the people, the ward committee system in the ward level, they look after each other, because we are a communal society. Papua New Guinea is a communal society. We live in tribes, we live in clans. So there's representatives of these wards, they look after each other. And guns brought in, the wards are always there. They're hawking on whoever's bringing a gun. So they say, look, this young man has brought in a gun. The other ward committee members, they can talk to that person. And they also count how many young people are there who have the potential to get married in the next 5 years' time, or next 2 years' time. Well, look, this young man is now ready to get married. Now let's look at the bride price. How do we do it? With the girl that is befriending, etc. So they manage the young person. So all the social attitudes that contribute to social problems or to social happiness, it is addressed at the grassroots level by this ward committee system. And Mr. Deputy Speaker, Kandep, we have not had fight for the last 5 to 7 years compared to the rest of Enga. I've talked to the governor, and I'm talking to other members. Let's strengthen the ward committee system and let's empower these people. You don't have to give them money. Just play sports. Playing sports in there, and other people going in, like the United Nations. Mr. Deputy Speaker, I've also spoken to the United Nations recently, about 2 weeks ago on this, and I sold them that concept, and I'm meeting with them from time to time to make Kandep a pilot project for ward committee system that empowers people in the council of ward. So I see that's working, and this bill addresses that. And I think it is one of the best bills, because every other bill, we're looking at all materialistic things. A road is a materialistic thing, a classroom is a materialistic thing, all these other issues we're talking about, they're all material things, right? Of course, they will enhance human capital development, but they are not directly the human. But there are only 3 areas that address human. Social development, like this bill before us. Skilling of the young people, skilling, education, skilling. And 3, the health. The health. You have to be in good health in your body within to reflect the goodness without. And that's why social sector is supposed to be a leading department. look, let me say this. Look, excuse me for saying some things bluntly, Mr. Deputy Speaker, but we seem to be happy with where the money is. But money has proven not to be the solution all the times. Social sector development, where we go down to the human person, is very important. That should be the priority. As enshrined in our Constitution, in the Constitution, integral human development is priority, and that's what this bill is doing, and the ministers leading us in the right direction under the leadership of the Prime Minister. And another factor I've also seen in cannabis is this. Drug. Mr. Deputy Speaker, drug is stealing our young people. Marijuana is stealing our young people. How dare we don't see this? I have a son, his name is Ezra. I sent him to school here and he went to school in Australia. Came back in Cairns, and I was very happy that you'd be one of those young people to make us proud. But he had inherited the habit of taking drug. And now I took him to Lauloki, and look, we're going to put it there and we're going to train him up. He fought us and we took him back again. We took him to the Seventh Adventist Church. We took him to Dr. Psychiatrist. Dr. It's a wonderful lady. Dr. Ambi. She has been personally counseling Ezra to become better. And we tried to take away the drug in him for about 12 months. But then we thought he was strong already, and he went and took the drug again. And Ezra recently, just about 1 week ago, sold the cooker in our house. And my wife Sharon comes and tells him, "Don, the cooker is gone." I said, "I cannot steal it." Ezra sold it because he went to buy drug. So drug is killing our young people. When we're talking about the future, what future are you talking about, Mr. Deputy Speaker? It's a 1-year-old person here, 5-year-old child, the 10-year-old girl. That's the future you're talking about. What future do you mean? We're not talking about this parliament. We're not talking about a building. We're not talking about the roads, airports, and all these things. It will require human beings, the skills and the character and discipline to look after them. This law addresses those issues. It's not just any other ordinary law. The social development is where it develops the human person, the human capital for social cohesion, for integration, to become one. We may be 1,000 different tribes and nation languages, but this law puts us and unites us together to develop the human being where it matters, and that's at grassroots level. So, Mr. Deputy Speaker, let me, using this example that I see in my own electorate, we have ups and downs. Even in my family, I see that. And I've been in this public office for some time will have learned this, to see it, and I'm seeing the answer for law and order, for social poverty, for economic issues, challenges. It is right there in the ward level, in the family unit, where you ward councillors, they must be given more empowerment, direct financing from the parliament to the LLGs. We are putting them on the payroll. Now I say that the Treasury, the Prime Minister, and his whole parliament, let's think again to put money not just to the provincial government system, but also directly to the local level government systems, and they then empower the ward committees in the individual wards, and you find the ward committees are there, and of course you can develop also in the ward committees and ward committee system, community policing if you want. Rather than just paying a lot of money at all this police here at the top level, you have community policing in the rural ward area, and you find problems are already diffused and addressed proactively before even it comes to this floor of parliament. Sometimes we end up discussing police issues. Sometimes we end up discussing technical and public service issues when we are legislators and policy makers. And you'll find this policy, this act, will enable and empower the ward system, and the ward committee system should be established as part of this law. And we could also look at establishing ward policing system as well. Get 5 to 10 young men and women to work with the community police to take care of their own wards. So if you can have that system in place from the bottom level up, you will see the governance of the top level down, and integrating the whole governance system, Mr. Deputy Speaker, I find will be much easier, less costlier, and will be very, very effective. So I asked the Minister to look at that, to in this act some time in the progressing into the future, look at the word committee system and the word policing system in individual LLG words. Like in Canada, we have 74 word committee systems. We've established them, the structure there, and now we're looking at how do we put about 5 to 10 young men and women, whom we call them policing in the ward level, so that they're proactive in addressing those potential issues that come up, and they address immediately on the spot. Therefore, you don't have trouble fights. Therefore, you don't have gunmen coming in and harboring gun in those wards. Police will find it difficult to find them, but the ward, the community themselves will be on the guard. They will be the solution providers. So it's a good bill. Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Thank you, Minister.
The Honourable Member for Abao.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I wish to have a few comments, but I want to commend the Honourable Minister for bringing this bill to the Honourable House. I want to raise a concern in view of this bill, and therefore put up a case on the bill not being necessary. Mr. Acting Speaker, we are into centralizing too many activities in this country. If you read this bill carefully, you will find that this is another nationally structured organ. It will establish an advisory committee made up of 13 people that are very, very busy every day anyway. You look at Section 9 of the proposed bill, which has named all those departmental heads that are always in committees everywhere. Planning, finance, health, education, community development, even the police commissioner or his nominee there. So, Mr. Acting Speaker, I'm always against centralizing programs. The Honourable Member for Kandep highlighted existing systems through by law, the local level government and the wards. They are already there and working, but devoid of funds. That's where these community issues are addressed, not at the national level. DDAs too are eased up. We have district community development officers there. We have church members in the DDA, LRGs too. So in terms of the entire community, the system is there. Please don't centralize it. Give it to us and give the funding as well. This is another centralization program. I can tell you, Acting Speaker, it will be another white elephant. It will not work. All these advisory committee people, they are busy. Just look, one person, Minister, Department Head responsible for Treasury, or his nominee, deputy, or FAS, or they are all busy people. So, and then you look at Section 16, they are prescribing in this bill that the so-called Community Development Center will be at the provincial level, trying to coordinate again at the provincial level, but we got wards there, we got LLGs there, and argument that Member for Kandep strongly emphasized, which I agree, but he disoriented it. It's completely disoriented. use the existing community-based legal entities, LLGs, wards, DDAs. We members of parliament, we encompass everything in the community. Why do we create another animal? When I was Secretary for Health, I fought against the establishment of the Provincial Health Authority. I argued that this is bringing health back to Waigani. All the provincial health boards report to the minister. They don't even report to the governor, who is in the province. And in minister's report.
Honourable Member, we have a point of order. The Honourable Minister.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I'd like to make it clear to the floor of Parliament that the bill, the PHA Act, is an important act, and it's been passed through Parliament, and we have PHs now in 22 provinces, and the governor, represented by PA, is on the PHA board. And we need to acknowledge this kind of arrangements. It's actually functioning, and it's effective. Thank you.
The Honourable Minister, your point of order is in order. The Honourable...
we just had a report by the Minister for Provincial Affairs and Local Level Governments, highlighting that two organs are confusing the system. Provincial Health Authority and the DDAs. That's the point I'm making. Is centralizing these important functions that should be at the authority of, at the provincial level and the district level. So my argument, Mr. Speaker, I mean the Health Minister has to defend the PHA because he's the minister responsible. I was a former minister. I propagated it, but I actually went against it originally. And this is the spirit under which I am arguing. Do not centralize, because ministers are too far away. We have to go back at the provincial right down to the district. And for this particular, trying to establish a national community development system, we actually already have it. I don't see the need for us to legislate, because we already have structures. The churches are the biggest contributors for community development. You look at every village, every church is there. All we just do through DDA, LOG, we support the churches. Even Minister for Community Development is not even budgeting directly for every church organization. Districts are the ones that are helping. So let's help and facilitate what is already happening down at the district level. My concern is continuing to centralize organs of state that are basically non-functional, because they will interfere with many of the legal organs already on the ground. They will step on the toes of too many people. Imagine this advisory committee at Waigani advising on community development issues which include health matters. We already have the system down there already. Or education matters. All these community members, they have their own agencies, the committee members. They are heads of department of their agencies where they are already going down there. Why should we have another parallel program that really doesn't have any authority in these sectoral agencies to interfere at that level? That's my strong view, Deputy Speaker. So I stand to raise a great concern that this law is basically demonstrating to centralize functions back to Waigani on a community development matter where legal entities are already in place, Mr. Deputy Speaker. Thank you.
Minister for Petroleum.
Mr. Speaker, I rise to support this bill and speak in support of it. Going through the Minister paper, I've dealt with the Office of Community Development in the last couple of years, and I like to say that the current Minister is one of the most hard-working ministers, but he doesn't say so much on the floor of Parliament. But he sits back and he works. He represents the country very well around the world. He's a workaholic. He starts early in the morning at 8 o'clock and finishes at 6 to 7 o'clock in the night. So I commend the Minister for bringing this very good bill. This bill, I think, I like to comment that I think the member for Abba is misplaced in his arguments. This doesn't centralize the work of the community development. This bill, in fact, gives recognition down to the districts that people in the district at the moment don't recognize that our most vulnerable people, like our elderly, disability people, our women, children, youth, survivors of gender-based violence, these people don't get they're not recognized because we don't have a central functioning officer. Like, this is a profound bill. This bill also now you look at DDA and you just start it. This is what this bill is speaking about. We're giving focus in the district. In the last 2 years, me asked you community development officer, who is down in my district working? Now, there is nobody. This bill now will give focus and recognition. Now, every no sit down. This like minister, I'm using department plan, only start work finished. The last 2 years, all working programs were finished. Down the district, let me put in a program come. We need a development center. People go asking them, and funding 50%, people district funding 50%. Now we have the most modernized building in Esara, a 2-story building now constructed. Because no district minister. Now work plan. So if you sit back and like Gox him helping, he won't help. But if you go and look him in the office plan, he's been helping us. Now I'd like to commend the minister. Now we've had a dysfunctional system living in the most vulnerable people living in the district. This bill is not about central government. He's bringing this bill in to talk about our people down in the district. Now you look at it, it's a bill too when we talk. Now our managers sit on office plan number. All the officers of the provincial government and district all the staff number, only dysfunctional. Now they will be focused in working in this new 2-story building down in Esara. Now I can only speak for Esara district. I can't speak about the other district. But I commend this bill. Now, we use the bill to give him planning, helping me go back no districts. Now, award levels, we have a focal point now, we have a manager down below based sit down in the district. Also, we have a district managers from DDA. So, me supporting this bill. Me know the planning total no. But Minister, congratulations, you bring the bill come now and passing the parliament. Now, me like over honorable member, please, you give me support. This bill doesn't centralize the work of the community development to our most vulnerable people. This bill now decentralized now. Walking go back to district and ward level. Thank you very much.
The Honourable Minister for Fisheries.
Thank you, Deputy Speaker. I rise to support the Minister on his bill. This is a very important bill. Lest you all forget, community development links all of us. Without community development, none of us will be here. Because it's a foundation, family foundation, built on community development. In the last couple of years, 49 years to be exact, as the Minister said, it's a forgotten ministry. We concentrated on other ministries and everything, but socially, this one affects the very people that we should be protecting. Those people up there, our children. Disabled children, handicapped children, battered wives. They don't have a voice. Their voice needs to be heard. When we talk about this in the district, it just comes and it dies. Nobody says anything. But the minister's used his initiative. He's brought the powerful people together. Don't kill the bill before it can show it's good. That is the lesson here. A couple of years ago, they introduced bottled water into our country. Everybody said, why are you introducing? Nobody's going to drink it. We're going to go and drink from the tap. So now you look in. Bottled water is the highest and most bought drink in our country. And people condemned it. We can make a difference. Not for us. This is not for you guys. This is for the children and the generation that comes after us. We need to put it in place now so that the steps that we take going into the future, they will be protected. I support this bill wholeheartedly, and I thank the minister. Last week, the minister gave us some stats on homeless children in Port Moresby. It's sad. It's a reality. It's not only Port Moresby. It's Lae. It's eating to our towns. What are we going to do about it? We're going to go back to our community development officers in the district and ask them, what programs do you have? They said, oh, we haven't been refreshed. We're sending people that haven't been taught about community development into rural areas to teach them, to give them some idea on family planning and all these things. But yet they themselves don't know it. This finally will give us something so that the people that we send out there have the idea, the mentality to make the changes that we all want. I agree with the Minister for Petroleum in his words. We need to do this now. And I fully support this bill. And I really hope those who have children, those who will be bubbles, this is something here. I'm a walk him, I'll protect him, or picking any of future. Thank you.
The Honourable Member for Sinisina Yongumul.
Thank you, Acting Speaker. I want to say there's no question about the integrity of the minister. He's a very good man, and he has a lot of credibility, and he usually does things for a lot of good reasons for our country. That's number one. Number two, we will support him in his work as a minister on any initiative he takes on matters that will advance the welfare of our communities and societies throughout Papua New Guinea. That's a given. Both sides of the floor can support him. It's just the nature and character of the way this bill is written that raises some questions. We're not saying generally he should not be advancing in that direction, but when he brings papers like this into the floor for us, then he should make sure through his department and advisors that it's written out properly to give him the results he wants and we all of us want. So on that note, there's whatever the Sepuka Temu, member for Abao, has said earlier, I endorse what he said. And on top of that, I also want to point out a couple of things about this bill. This bill talks about advancing the welfare of the community. So when you go into the definition, you will see that community means all the human beings. Go back to the definition. So the bill is intended to work towards advancing the welfare of all the human beings in this country. And for me, that's too broad. It's very, very broad. We need to be more specific because there are many other departments already serving the individual human beings in this country, like education, like the Department of the youth section, which the minister is also responsible for, I believe, the Women's Council, health, education. All those things involve improving the welfare of the human beings, the people of this country. So when we want to promote a bill that is intended to help us, to give us the powers and the functions and most of all the resources to advance those goals, we must be specific so that we don't encroach upon the functions of the other pre-existing agencies of government. So that's point number one. I find the objectives, the functions too generic, too general, not specific enough. Like when we hear the speeches from the other members, the speakers on the floor, they talk about advancing the interests. It's important for our children, but the bill doesn't talk about just the children. It doesn't. It's misrepresenting what the bill says. The bill talks about everybody, and that's too broad. So I would recommend that in order for there to be effective, for the bill to be effective, it should be specific. It should focus on a particular category or group of people, like the youth, pick up on that and advance them, and we will, of course, support them, because we know that there's going to be precision in the approach to which sector of community they're going to be talking about. Women, there's already women's organizations, council, women's council, and all of those organizations looking after women's interests already. Second point I want to raise is my concern about the exclusion of DDAs. DDAs, the majority of us here are chairmen of DDAs. We are created by an act of parliament in here, and we are not included. Look at section 4, for example. Talks about the establishment of the community development system, and it talks about how they will align their work with the work of the national government, the provincial government, and the local level government, but the DDAs are not mentioned. As we all know, the LLGs are there by law, but they don't have the resources. They don't have most of all the finance. So most LLGs throughout the country depend upon the DDAs for funding to do their work. So how can the DDA cooperate with the council and the community development system if we are not all sitting together in the same room and talking, aligning it? Because in order for, I know the national departments here don't get fully funded, and departments like community development get the lowest priority. So they won't have the money to fund the programs in the rural district, like, say, Teleforming or Samarai Murua or Sinisneongmu, for that matter. They won't have it, but the DDAs in those local districts will have the money to fund the local community programs. So you have to include, through you, Acting Speaker, the minister has to have the DDAs included in this scheme of things. So we are there, we are involved, we know what they are doing, and there's the possibility of us funding them. Provincial government is already there, but you know, it's a concern that the DDAs who are statutory not included. You look at section 7, for example, talks about the implementation of the development plans, etc. No mention of DDAs, but the other sectors of government are mentioned. So that's a serious gap. There's a serious gap in the connectivity of this bill to the floor on the ground, where the money is. The money is in the hands of the DDAs. We all know that. So that's a serious. If the minister wants the bill to succeed, he needs to bring in the DDAs. Thank you, Mr. Acting Speaker.
The Governor for Central.
Thank you, Mr. Acting Speaker. I would like also to contribute to the debate on this important bill. I want to start by commending the Minister for bringing to this floor this bill. I support the essence of the bill. I also want to acknowledge the work that he does in his portfolio as Minister. I want to point out and congratulate him for ensuring that the National Council of Women was established recently or the executives were appointed recently in KVN. So I want to congratulate him for that and thank the Governor for New Ireland for hosting that event in his province. I support the essence of this bill because it's talking about bottom-up planning, which is really important for a country like ours, where almost 87-90% of our people are in rural areas. Bottom-up planning is critical. So when I say I support the essence, that's what I'm supporting. The bottom-up planning, taking into account the community-driven development approach to development planning, is something that we already have as government. At the moment, together with World Bank, there is a project that's been funded that's called the Rural Service Delivery Project. In the pilot phase, it was called the Rural Service Delivery and Governance, Community Governance Project. In the scale-up phase, it's called the Rural Service Delivery Project. It's about bottom-up planning. It's about community-driven development planning. It's working to empower the community, the ward development plans with their chair, who is the councillor, the ward councillor, the LLG administration and the district administration is looking at empowering the administration level that are working with our people at the community level, as well as the ward development communities. So it's working through existing government system to strengthen that level of government, both political and administration. The important point or objective of this government, of this project, is to bring services down to the people, but services that are identified by the people themselves in ward communities through the Ward Development Committee. Having said that, I want to support what the Honourable Member for Abao has said. We have existing structures and systems of government that on a large part has not been supported financially to work as it was intended to. And so while this bill here has the right intent, I agree that as I see this bill, it seems to be centralizing the functions that are already played by subnational governments and the structures, administrative structures at that level. So whether that keeps the bottom-up planning, to what extent will it be effective in maintaining the importance of bottom-up planning, community-driven development approach, for me is questionable. As Sepuka pointed out, the composition of the advisory committee at D-head level, I don't really see how that will function. I think at this point in time, we already have, again, I'm repeating myself, we already have systems of government, political structures that exist that have not been funded adequately to perform what it was intended to do, which is empower our people by building their capacities to be able to do their ward plans at ward level, to be able to do inclusive and participatory approach to ward level planning. And so we have had an example from the member for Kandep, who has explained how that has happened in his community. I think there are places that we can strengthen and relook at, such as ward development committees. They are established when new political leaders come in at ward council level, and it should be more administrative so that the ward level planning is consistent regardless of political cycles. But the important point is they are actually consulting with leaders at the ward level to come up, identify projects that they put through. One of the sad realities is that we have seen LLG SIP funded only for 1 year in one term of government. And while it did demonstrate the strengthening of ward level planning and budget allocation, it unfortunately was shot dead before it even had the opportunity to demonstrate more how funding to that level, lower levels of government, can deliver perhaps more effectively on the ground, reducing the cost of service delivery at that level. Ward level planning is going to be location specific, because as the member for Kandep has said, in a Highlands community, it might look different from a community here in Central Province. Even within Central Province, at ward level, you will have different leadership structures and governance systems that exist purely by the fact of different cultures that exist within each locality in every district. We have existing systems of government such as Council of Women, which is already a network on the ground where ward development committees can have the ward woman rep, Council of Women rep on the ward development committees, same with the youth, same with the church rep. We also at provincial level already have appointed members, same as LLG, and at the provincial government where you have appointed members to the assembly, provincial assembly, women, youth, chiefs. In the case of Central, is actually covered in the organic law. On provincial local level governments, you have business reps. The thing is, the funding is not there. What we have at provincial level is not enough to fund these members who are already a voice at the provincial assembly level. And so I'm trying to take time to point out that the existing system already covers to such an adequate extent the representation of different sectors of the community. The major flaw is that we have not supported the existing systems and structures that give voice to women, that give voice to youth, that give voice to chiefs who are leaders on the ground, that give voice to other marginalized groups, people living with disabilities, etc. So while I really support the essence of the bill, I don't think it's presented in the way that we would like, but going further than that, why do we bring something else when we are not supporting what already exists? Thank you, Mr. Acting Speaker.
Governor Foro.
Acting Speaker, I want to add my comments to the ongoing debate. Firstly, I would like to thank the Minister and commend him for making an effort to bring a bill into Parliament that recognizes the plight of our most marginalized in the communities, districts, provinces, country. I just have a few concerns about the bill that I feel we need to sort out and tidy up before we bring back to this Parliament. Reading through it briefly, I get the sense that we are creating more public service jobs that will be reporting to Waigani. That's my problem or issue with this bill. These public servants that are going to be created, or these public service jobs that are going to be created, according to what I'm reading here, will be taken away from the provincial government system or the administration, deployed to the districts, and then reporting to Waigani. Why? We are sick and tired of Waigani Swamp and having to come and line up here and beg for resources and funds to run our provinces. And now you're trying to create another parallel system. Doesn't make sense. I urge all governors to read this document very carefully before you all agree to this. Are we aiming to do away with 22 provinces and create 89 new provinces? Is that what we're doing here? Ministers, read your bills carefully before you bring them here. Your public servants are misleading you. That's what's happening here. This bill doesn't make sense to me. We are decentralizing or we are centralizing. What are we doing? In this instance, it appears to be on the pretext of decentralization, we are centralizing. This is what happened with the 1995 reforms. And the mess we are in now is because of that. And instead of fixing this mess, we are creating even more creatures that are creating more problems for us and our people. We have very limited funds, very limited resources. We can't be creating more public servants, more organizations, more structures that work against one another, that all report to only Waigani. My goodness. That's the problem I have with this bill, Mr. Speaker. Thank you very much, Minister, for bringing this to our attention. But I think greater consultation is needed. Consultation with the existing structures, consultation with all stakeholders. And I know that the intent is there, that we want services in the districts for our women, for our children, for our marginalized people, people living with disabilities especially. But I don't see that this is the pathway to achieving that. I think what we ought to do is allow the provincial governments to restructure their administrations to cater for this. And report to the districts and the provinces. And incorporate the DDAs too. So that all of us can work together rather than working against each other in our rush to Waigani, to line up and beg for resources again and again. So my colleagues here, both sides, my issue with this bill is that I don't think it's a complete document. I don't think proper consultation has taken place. Minister, you're a good minister, but your public servants are misleading you. And they've created a document to create more jobs for themselves, more committees, more parallel systems. Goodness. So I, for one, will not support this bill. And I urge all governors to read it very carefully and thoroughly before you agree to supporting this bill. I urge you to take this bill back, review it, consult stakeholders, consult provincial governments, and then we bring back a bill that is going to allow all of us to work together, decentralized, so we are not all running to Waigani Swamp. Thank you.
The Honourable Governor from Morobe.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, for giving me leave to talk now. We like to make the leading sotla talk million talk pisin. Talk place from all simple man, legal man, not recognized man, you may like addressing long all. So me like him all the same radio by through the radio all by Adam, now TV 2 by Lukim, newspaper all by Kandim. Mr. Speaker, directing Speaker, this country blow you me before by me supporting bill, by me come to the point behind. This country blow you me got civilization before. Some man will talk primitive civilization, but primitive civilization. Life blow you me long over the half long perimeter on this country. Time all white man kungutim this ground, long Papua New Guinea now. Life blow you me stop good. True stop good. Yeah, you may kill him, that's kill him no reason. Kill him no reason. Na play come birwa, me play kill him long reason. This plan come up. So sorry come up, maybe goes long reason. Otherwise, you may got Community were governed by customs Bluyumi. Community were governed by leadership Bluyumi. Community where law is stopped. Community where all the environment all been stopped good. People you know unnecessary destroying. People got place from kisim kai kai, place from go kisim fish, kisim place from go hunt him, place from cut him do in the camp, walk him house. In total order been stopped. That's the time all outside man come on this country and bring him civilization belong will come. This civilization belong me play been disturbed. Now talk English, me can talk substantially disturbed. Life play you on this ground long Papua New Guinea now. Emino stop in order. Plenty kind sick been come inside now. Plenty custom blown alpla place come inside now. Plenty kind kai blown alpla place come inside now. All bagarafim you mean and sindan you mean on the country. You know stop in order or seven been stopped. Now today time you going to talk this kind life and stop. Before you know got one group blow mothers. Talk blow madas. Before you know got plenty talk blow all yampla, youth yampla blow all yet. Heavy blow all yet, and sit down blow all yet. Before you know got talk. Before you know got one talk. Blow disabled people. How why me look out him disabled people? You know got talk. Before no got me play got way blow look out him disabled people. Before you know got one play issue belong unemployment, Mr. Speaker. Look at one play talk na unemployment. Oh, got the money got work na kai na smile na kind all stop. Amama stop. Before you know got talk lo lapun man how by me look at him. Lapun Mary how by me look at him. Before you know got this let me issue him stop. Before you know got one play settlement been stopped. Now before you know got one block or one kind of this country. Before you know got one place group is stop now divide him go come stop. All got the man stop order. All the man stop order. System blow place now, law blow place now, government blow place now, over something in order. Suppose you come on another planet, you know, you mean making sense to talk to me. So you come to place long Papua, you come to Sambalai, you come to Goilala, you come to Kikori, you come to Ela, long Wanema, long Komo, where you come to Wanema, you say long Wanem system you may be stopped. You come long Hagen Central. System you may be stopped, all Gilana Moge. System place stop. Today, system now, place in order. Don't display country you me. No one talk about saying we didn't have a country. We had the country in order at that time. We had the country in order. Today now we have a country not in order. Now we stop here. Hey, can you come now? Sabrin boy belong all on Tamplin on Cookie Market. Mr. The University, you go down here, trample head grass belong all the thing, put in a thing, yeah. Yeah, me Plamangalo Kairukuya. One kind of a people we respect them. Order is tough. Today no got this order. Everything in a disarray. Everything in a disarray. Number out. Now I'm starting to the country. Now we have a system by the constitution of this country. Constitution of the country in come up mama law. And give it power on a lot of subordinate legislation by come up. Legally law on some council area by come up. Now, system now must be governed by the laws. Governed by the laws. Long country. You don't have to talk nothing. It has to be governed by the law. Now, this time now. Remember I bring him Billy come. Now, before the member being Bill come now, before Karo Kidu, Honorable the Karo Kidu at that time, I mean Minister And yet been sing out him on this name, community development. You know, Chief Somali been given this name. And yet come after him, community development. This is Mary and Martin Mary long Papua New Guinea, long party place. And Savile talk motu. And talk motu Misa Mangalongan. You know the Mangalong, but Mangalong talk place and talk. And so talk good. One time in prayer, no year, no talk place motu. And Savile life play you line play Milo motu. Life play Milo more than half. And Savile, name to community development. That name was called community development. Me yet me committee member. Long this committee. Long last parliament. Me staff. Now me play developing policies now. Me I'm a master of them now. This minister now. Let me implement him. Me I'm a master. Long this minister. That's what this time, Mr. Speaker. You know I want to law some now. Minister proposed law. You mean by passing this law? Parliament law come up in law. Because you don't have to walk in nothing. You must get law. There is policy, there is practice, all kind of something. But because you have a policy and a practice, all man no have law behind him. You come up in law, all man by behind him. Now suppose you broke him law, you got consequences from him, you will face him. That is why we need a law. No, policy of community development, Carol Kidu, bring him come along. And we come up him long end, now you may put him in a policy. Now, one people long end, and now minister like, making sure him, this is a policy, and we translate him, turn him along law. Now, minister be supporting you 1,000%, not 100%. Me supporting you 1,000%. Because you want to put a system. I go to me, Governor, me go to office from community development and what do you go? You got one committee staff. But me go look in. No one committee is going to stop. You're going to youth department or you're going to one kind department or referring to so you don't have a system, a political system there by the virtue of the law, which you're going to refer you by go looking for a committee. Now, Minister, make him law, Mr. Speaker, and me right. And me come up him display Billy come long by you set him Community Development Authority. Yeah, all seven man, all by walk on display. Now you me walk on talk or say blown why honey. Hey, now you me start long intellectual community. Yeah. You know, start long before now me to talk here. You need intelligent people working in a institution created by the law, and that law passed by the local authority, the parliament, Mr. Speaker. So now Minister bringing this bill come here. And long make sure that we have a committee established by the law that we're going to pass. And that is the Committee or Community Development Advisory Committee. Now, function belong him, Minister, long synopsis belong him, and talk out clear truth. Long page, what a page, Minister, you know numbering page 2 here. And point number, I don't know what the point, but there you said, the bill also calls for the, no, sorry. Where you at? We need him number 2 here. I blow me. You pass the mouse. Yeah. Purpose belong committee. And we talk out clear. Page 5. Thank you, my governor. Calls for the creation of National Community Development Authority, and this committee will coordinate efforts between national, provincial, local level government, as well as with the civil society organization, churches, development partners. It will ensure that all stakeholders work together towards common goals, avoiding duplication of efforts, as is happening today, and ensuring the efficient use of the resources if the resources are provided. So this institution by staff, now you mean on one district or one LNG, you mean by come long all, now all by giving me sample of ting. Now maybe by walk one time, not okay ting, maybe two by giving more sample of ting long all. Now maybe by walk one time. There is a political institution there established by the law. Don't buy me come looking more. Before you know that, now by God, suppose you me passing this law, a bill. So and by some only by stable only at Mr. Speaker. Or some white elephant now will describe him all. Aye, we are changing with time. We got to work with intellectual people. All by stop now by advising you me. Now you me by walk. Now this institution and by Sanab now thank you on consultation. Also you know our consultation. But Governor Bloro me due respect one time. But this consultation. All man walk along office to help you. Now line of consulting all ya. Now all the same view belong him, view belong all. Now give him minister, this will ting. Long what is the you must make him? Long address him all this line, Mr. Speaker. Now, Mr. Speaker.
Honorable Governor, you got point of order. Honorable Member Governor Foro.
With due respect to the good governor for Morobe, me talk lo side lo mipla lo province. Where administration lo me no been consulted. Provincial administration, community development division lo me, all stakeholders lo province lo me. Mipla no been consulted lo tsla. And by impacting province lo me and by impacting more people lo me too ya. So mipla need lo kisin la consultation and platu by making input come lo tsla bill. That's what we've been talking saying. Suppose all been consulting good la governor blo Morobe na administration plan, okay, I'm good la. Almost working one kind of same law get the province. I'm tasol and point of order blo me. I must not talk also ino bin got consultation or ibin got consultation because mipla can confirm also ino bin got consultation or site mipla. Thank you.
Thank you, Honorable Governor. Honorable Governor Blo Morobe, you.
Yeah, thank you, long. So sorry, my name. Sorry, only no consult him you. That's all consult him government blo me. All consult him. Long when something all walk. Let me talk. You mean province by no now work in isolation, one time national government. System of government established by the constitution. You must got national government. Now you must got provincial government. Now you must got local level government. That is why you mean this institution you like put him long national government, long stop now by you me by ember work one time you me. Also now long synopsis me read him long end. And a good idea. So merely give him ting long minister. Long make sure also whatever they do, no can lose him out provinces. Now activity long provinces. Now Miple looks out, Mr. Minister, Speaker, clear through long display institution or groups of people that civilization blow nalbla man come na put him, make him come up. Now you make out on this country. Huh? All mama ya, you got waria. Now all mama you got wari na can petition come lo governor blow morobe na kamba can governor. Oglo is put him stop. All youth, group of youth. Now all disabled people. I don't know this plan. And then all beginning, also now you're going to talk. And then unemployed people. And then all the people 60 years now you going up. And then all settlement villages now you got. This committee, this bill let me establish as passed, now establishing for a committee, now committee making work by addressing all heavy stuff on this floor in a coordinated way, long tumble along grassroots, all the way go come up on national government, because national government and big government for this country, you know, now everything. Now this is a big idea, belong setting this committee, this plan, and good idea, also let me support him, minister. Today, Minister me, how was through? long you bring him come. We have to start some way, Mr. Speaker. We cannot say, oh, all the systems are in order, this in order, also just leave it like that. No. We have to come up with an order legally, that means to have a law passed, creating an institution and making sure that people are going to work in there and they know their duty statement and that they're going to attend to whatever they're going to do in relation to this category of people now me mention on. We have to have it in this country because that is the style of a community now we have in this country. We cannot just listen to talk, also stop finish stop. No, Mr. Speaker, we have to do it. And Minister, I can see your wisdom, I can see your department's wisdom to make sure that we have an institution legally established to deal with it. Of course, some of the matters of some Honourable Member of Milong about talk, Honourable Member of Milong, Sina Yangamuli talk, and then Honourable Governor Blongoroi talk. Some of those things all we're going to talk is not canvassed in the draft bill before this Honourable Parliament, of course. But let us begin somewhere. Let us begin somewhere. And that somewhere, and now, Minister, you bring him come. Then you bring him come. Let's have it fast. It's a government, you have to have this bill passed. Let's begin. We begin in a big way or begin in a smaller way, whatever degree of beginning we begin, but let's begin as long as that begin is going to help our people. They're particularly addressing the humanity, integral part of human being or integral development belong human being as the preamble is in the constitutional preamble. Set out in the first, one of the first things there, we must consider integral human development. You don't need to plan a rich man, money got money, or else for something, you can concentrate on this blah. You may think, long those people who start, you may can talk about some, let's call you one per name, but all will establish a big block, same time they start. You can describe him also. Now, me man will settlement too, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Civil settlement here. Me old man will be allowed similar 10 years, and Mr. settlement here. Mr. want them all people here. Now, me can sour. Now, me don't need him one play evidence, no come talking to the parliament. Evidence, no witness, and me, there now me going to talk stuff here. And me to the me witness man here. And we need it now. You man will receive long way Australian and British men. Now, you don't need him evidence now. You are going to talk by creating white elephants, now you are going to talk to. That's all me. You know, sir, green elephant or one kind of elephant by me talk to. Because this organization by come up with something. Don't help him all. Land you mean play straight, settlement, block, and this layer. And once the Minister of Works and Karim Road, he go inside of Kona, which he's doing it, the best minister. Sorry, one for the best minister. Blomium, MM. And we go, yeah, road, you go inside, yeah. Community development by behind him, they go, yeah. And then last of all, we'll talk to them. You boys set him up provincial office for you. You boys set him up office for district. You boys set him up office for you long LLG. And then all this committee now you need to talk come up here. Or by making us disseminating information policy or what needs to be done by go through long all now you mean by working more. Even though we're going to talk money, national government also by giving him yeah. Me no believe. National government can give him money and by giving him, but by short. So this committee, organization by advice him, you make money in the district. Let's support him all this heavy now. You make money. No one stop. Committee by advice him, give him think, bring him some money, plan the whole NGO.
Honourable Governor.
By giving money. So I'm sure when this organization is
Honourable Governor,
the bill, and when we pass the bill,
Honourable Governor, time will finish.
So, Mr. Speaker, last but talk, good plan, Mari must stop. Me talk Mari must stop. Thank you. But you must pass in this review.
The Honourable Member Blo North Wagi.
Thank you, Deputy Speaker, Lok Sawan on me. I like comment him, Minister of Community Development Law, one good bill and passing. I'm carrying camp, yellow floor of Parliament. Now, why not by me? You meet talk no imi olgada by sabotin this la bill. Kain kan bill imi sa sabotin lo yellow parliament. Emplo outside. Emplo benefit him outside. So this la bill. And by benefit him all man 80% of population all staff of rural place here. And by benefit him. You mean again come up kain kan especially you no can talk no gat. Was all man even give what no you mean you come. Now all gada law you mean got here. You mean got law. Generalization put him all gada man inside. Talsla law you put him. You must kill him. Now population em grow big player. Deputy Speaker. Me are also population em grow. So you can put him all man long. One basket. This la basket you mean like put him. Em all man you know that name lo place. All staff lo place here. By me. Save more. One last time we been talk. Deputy Speaker, you must change him. All man, lo change him society. You must change him man past time, and this lo man by change him society. So you thinking lo make him all another something na passing bill na make him make him another something. That you know change him life all man by still. Or you can't get something yet. Now lo this la country you got plenty issue. You got plenty issue. Deputy Speaker, plenty issues that. Now we have to control him. Because you mean look at me, got attitude, behavior, kind of something. Old man fight, steal, drink, steam, kind of something will make him. Now you mean must get one bill, you can pass him also so that this law by saving all community law place. So this law by sending him society, sending him old man by come good. Now this law by help him country blow you mean. Now me, somebody, Deputy Speaker, me somebody minister or this lab bill and pass him. Now me 100% me support him. Now by me what him this bill. Thank you.
The Honourable Governor for speak.
Thank you, Mr. Deputy Speaker. Me sawe all leaders like vote. Me one bill. Just a couple of issues that me like raise him. Plenty time you me say bring him bill when really what we need is a policy. And I think that's the point that I want to make to the good minister. I think the minister means well. Me plus I got all committee hearings, I'm set up on them department blame. Also can make him contribution blow. So I know he means well. My concern is that, and you know, I also support what some of my colleagues have already said earlier. A lot of these things already exist. Miblalo province, Mibla got community development and staff. Igudan Olgatalo district, Igatol officer staff. The issue that everybody faces is one of funding. And so when I look through this bill, inside lo desla bill too, oli tokol sem. All by go na, all by go lo same halfway. Mi plus a go longem lo pining funding ya, all two by go lo same half. All by go lo national planning department, all by go lo finance department. Na mi bla province too, where mi bla got this lo existing system. Mi bla two by go lo same half lo. Try lo kesim same funding. So it brings me to my first point. Does the department really need a bill or does it need a policy? And when I say that, there's already a policy in place, which is the integrated community development policy. And I think it's been in place for a number of years now. So, question for me, igolo minister na department mosem. Time this la policy am stop in place. Have you carried out an audit to see the success of the policy or not? If you haven't carried out an audit, then on what basis you play, convince him you play yet or some? Now you may need him act. Me yet me feel also proper way of working memosem. You play putting policy past them. You play try and running policy. You play go na working audit lo display policy. Now suppose you got some failure inside lo display policy, then you play come long. Parliament na, you play working one bill na talk, oh look, me play like implementing policy, but you got roadblock all same so. Now me play needing bill or making policy work. I think plenty time me looking also all departmental heads no go to like impressive minister na. All by carry one bill you go to minister na talking minister you seems like go flow na you go na present him na or man by support him na. I'm also one tick can and double name. But what implements things is not law. What implements things is policy. And I think primary role blow you play all ministers. Law bring in policy. Policy come whereby Desla policy. Mipla ogada can look him space blo mipla. Space blo national government, space blo UYED or some department blo na minister, space blo provincial governments or DDA na all LLG lo. How mipla by implementing desla policy blo you? Because look him recently mipla come through one them all issues blo gender violence and desla guy. Okay, those issues were raised on the floor. Now you look him ogada province all start lo establishing all GBV committee belong only police department through the work on the police department or local establishing all FSV units. You see, these are all happening as a result of policy. They're not happening as a result of law. So I just wanted to caution you, Minister. Miss Awasam, you mean well, but time me look through lo here. Me no looking one nubla something where this la billion by achieving, because it doesn't solve the fundamental problem. The fundamental problem is still one of funding. How do we get funds to these areas where Mibla need him longem? Like you talk about community development, Mibla got all house mama staff. Iguran okata, Mibla got lo Maprik, Mibla got lo Vivek, Engoram. They are trying to establish those institutions where by supporting community, and these are community-based organizations, and we are trying to support them with funding. When I'm legally money, Mipla province got, Mipla try lo give him all to. All DDA too, try lo fund him all. So everything that you are trying to do, good minister, already exists. So, what it blow me emolsem? This la bill blow you by no achieving one bla nubla something. That's my concern. And I think it's a concern that I want to sort of elevate lo you blow all get all minister. You blow can't pass them on the policy blow. And me believe was step one. Okay, behind you bring him report lo this la policy bla. I've been in parliament now, I'm close to 8 years now. Minus I looking one bla report lo policy where one bla department they may develop him na try lo implement him. Where you bla gonna second policy bla work on nogat na. Behind kiss him report ikam lo mi bla leader lo here na. Or some scale him this bla, find him out bla. I haven't seen that yet, and I've been here going on 8 years now. And that's not a criticism, it's just a statement of fact. So, Milag encouraging you, Minister. Part lo work bla. Lo developing this law policy. Number two, part bla. And this comes back to what the Honorable Soro Aoe was talking about the other day now. Mino been contribute because I wanted to hear the contributions from other members. You know, for example, PHA come inside. Time PHA come inside, ECP, health, blah. The country ranked us 21 out of 22 provinces. As a result of the implementation of the PHA, we are now ranked 11 out of 22 provinces. So, by implementing the PHA, the Department of Health themselves has now ranked, lo ranking blongole olisoy mosem, ECP improved 10 places with the implementation of the PHA. We had almost 200 or 308 posts only pass. Mible no got workman or this law late post. PHA come inside with their work with Department of Personal Management. Only Kirap, only recruit him close to 140 plus community health workers just this year. So that this law late post pass here, we can put people in there. Now again, the report by the good minister does not take into account those things as a performance towards improvement or otherwise. They just look at a section 119 report, and based on that report, they make an assessment. Nobody came down to ECP. I have been the governor now for going on 8 years. There has not been one single audit by any department in ECP. I remember when the Honorable Rainbow Paita was Minister for Finance, I invited him. There was some funding put aside to come and do a financial audit of ECP provincial government. It never took place. And that's not a criticism, I'm just stating a fact. And I still say to all of the ministers, one of the ways that you can achieve your outcomes is by one, having a policy, and two, come down to the provinces and do audits. This is the thing that's missing. Everyone complains about spending money, but nobody does any audits. And my question is, whose job is that? In terms of community development, good minister, should your department not come down to ECP, take a look at what is happening, and then come back and make an assessment. Now, this is the same yardstick you current come lo isibiga. Karimigulo Morobe, Karimigulo East New Britain, Karimigulo Chimbu. And then, based on that, you come back and give him feedback lo mibla inside this house. We need an independent verification of whether these policies are working or not. And I submit to you humbly, good Prime Minister, you don't need an act to support the work you're doing. We are all supporting the work you are doing because it is important work. But I urge you, Karim just like go back past them now. Sit down, talk to a good one time, secretary blue you. Do you really need these things? It says here that you want to develop a system. Now, if I look at section 4, you don't describe how that system should look like. There's no diagrams or anything to tell any of us how that system will work. That system only comprises all of the existing players all having a big meeting. That's not a system. That's just more bureaucracy. So we don't need more bureaucracy, good minister. We need to know if the current integrated community development plan, policy, delivering these outcomes where you like him or not. And then after that, give us a plan B if it's not working. And again, I'm not saying this to you as a criticism, I want to help you. Because suppose you make it hard now, you've got a law that suddenly enforcing over the players, and it's a faulty law. It adds an additional burden of bureaucracy on top of one work where we are already struggling to do. You know, this year, ECP provincial government, we decided to, because we play strengthening all LLGs, lo working all same kind of work where you like him long. We play strong him go pinis, we play put him sample money can because all word only complain na talk. Money go lo LLG, emi no come up lo ward. So this year we want to send 4,000 kina down to all our wards so that they can do the kinds of work that you are talking about. What's our problem? Money where emi come suppose lo stab inside the national budget, you know come. So we haven't funded the LLGs and we haven't funded the wards because what was promised in the annual budget, the annual Papua New Guinean budget, did not arrive. So I'm bringing you second come back on same problem where you like deal one them inside of this bill, the issue of funding. One and no funding by you kissim, law operating this bill blah. Is there new funding coming from somewhere? If not, then I submit to you humbly, you by still got same old problem where you like solving one this bill. So my advice to you is that I cannot support this bill because me feel all same. You've been misled by your department. I'm feeling gloomy. When I think about the contributions by my own community development people, particularly my deputy administrator, Mr. Kami, na work na team blames are making. Mr. Wilson, plenty work. People like him, they're doing it. But they're doing it under difficult circumstances because funding me plus a scaling na try and give him long all. Plenty time heavy him also got him lo desla. If you were to go in and submit to the national budget that you need extra money to do your work inside the provinces na you brook him this little money na you sally me go down. I am sure we could make sure the funds go to the right places to achieve the outcomes that you are looking for. That's my submission to you. So, in fairness to you, and in good conscience, me no naplo supporting this bill, because me at meeting osem, you need lo come back na talk savelo mi long. Effectiveness lo this policy where we stop in place for a while, and then tell us why that policy has failed or succeeded, because you haven't done that, and it's not your fault. That should be coming from your secretary. So with that, Mr. Deputy Speaker, support Blomilo Minister and Mr. Tapiat, but for this bill, in this particular case, and by no God. Thank you very much.
The Honourable Prime Minister.
All right, thank you, Mr. Speaker. Me like Sanap lo make him some talk long, clearing some misconception that we may all have in this intended bill that the Minister is now proposing to us. Mr. Deputy Speaker, all our development focus is for our communities. You look, section 4 of this proposed bill, let me define in all community. I'm including all line got disabilities, all Mary, all Piccaninny, all church. This department embraces all the organizations that deal with people out there. Most times, and I've been in Parliament now going towards my 20th year. Many of us look down on this department that is right there in the face of our people dealing with the community. Many of the people that come under this department are in the margins of our mainstream line of thinking. For the first time now, you have a department trying to pull together the high and mighty in Waigani, who are supposed to save the people who are out there in our society. 80% of our country, if not 90%, is still rural based in our country. That is why the organic law and provincial and local level government gives an elevated level of power to our provincial government systems and the governors to address many of our development objectives. This bill does not take that power away. I want to point to all of you. Section 26, for instance. Section 26 of this Act. Let me read him. Section 26, subsection 1. Let me talk. The department shall, in mandatory terms, the department shall consult the relevant provincial government and local level government and the district development authority to ensure that the development of the district development centers is in compliance with this Act and other relevant laws. This is a subservient law to the organic law on provincial and local level government law. In the hierarchy of laws, this law fits into the organic law of provincial and local level government. Does not usurp the role of provincial governors, does not usurp the role of DDAs, rather complementary to work to make sure all of us are focused in the right space. I want to point to all of you a little provision. Section 24 of this law talks about total alignment, for instance, of all development partner investment in our country. Sometimes under the auspices of development aid, many development pathways that may not be friendly to the culture of our country may come in straight into districts, into province, into other parts. This department is a centerpiece department that holds together all focus of our community. When you look at Section 24, it talks about any development aid partners, you must submit consistent with the national plan, provincial plan, district plan. You know, making work yet. Example, when this country don't like homosexuality, you don't bring programs on homosexuality into this. Comes through a gate, gated. What is the role of this department? That is this department centerpiece to embrace all functions of development in our community. National government has a role as arbitrator, as middleman. Sometimes when you talk about development, the contest that takes place between governors and open members comes into play. Who do you expect to arbitrate and facilitate or ensure all work is taking place? You will call upon national government to come into play. I want to give assurance to all of you. You look, for instance, in Section 32 of this law, I read, upon coming into operation, the community development advisor becomes the district community development manager. The community development officer employed by the provincial administration is not going to create new positions. Whoever is already employed in every provincial structure you have a community development officer in the province and in the district. Under our instruction, this instruction has been on the table since 2019. Waigani will not create new employment structures and go down. Work with the province, and this law embraces this policy focus. Whoever is the officer in the province or in the district, and I don't know when was the last time each of us have sat with these officers called community development officers in our districts and set with community development officers in our province. This law now empowers them to link into the mainstream provincial planning system, and you, working with them.
Honourable Member for Aba, what's your point of order?
Mr. Speaker, I think our Honourable Prime Minister is misleading the Parliament on this bill. He has to read Section 19, 21, 22, 23, because the appointment of so-called district manager is done by the department, and they place that officer in the provincial center, and that provincial center manager will manage all the district. That's where the problems are we've been arguing. It's not the way that the Prime Minister is advising the Parliament during his debate. Thank you.
Honourable Prime Minister.
All right, I do appreciate that we have Sepuka, member for Aba on the other side, who's always conscious of what needs to be done. And I want to also point to you the provisions of law in Section 32. Does not take away or diminish the role of the provincial government in as far as coordinating the work, core work of community. But this act, in all, intends to pull together everyone. At the moment now, you have people disjointed. This act doesn't take the role away of education advisors, doesn't take away the role of health workers. At the central level, it is not to reinvent the wheel or do. At the central level, many central agency departments do not value the work of your district health worker, your district education advisor, your district women officers, etc., etc. We are trying to give value to important characteristics of a nation. We are still a community-based country. We are still a rural-based country. Our people live in the enclaves of their tribes, their community, their districts, their provinces. I want to give assurance to all of us. And if there, as we go about implementing this law, and if there's a teething issue, this one is not waggony trying to set up new structures in the face of our province and districts. Rather, coordinating, pulling all together. We give value to Look Out and Picking Act, for instance. We give value to Disability Act, for instance. We give value to the National Council of Women. We have the National Council of Women Act 2013. When was the last time each and every one of us give value to this? 50% of our women, 50% of our country are women. They operate. But because we are all so much busy about the bigger things, fight law road, fight law provincial government will make one, district will make one, Tarangu or Lik line limi, or mama, all church, all youths, same people even like making, but we all trying our best to do this all over the place. This department, even if this act doesn't come into place and is trying to marry all of them together under one umbrella, this department exists to coordinate all these different sectors. And we have identified, you see yesterday we dealt with Minister for Provincial and Local Level Government passing in, not yesterday, the other day, a report that there is apparent lack of compliance out there in our provinces, in basic reporting back, and out there in our departments too, reporting back on what has happened. And as we go through all this in the big noise of doing the bigger things, we may forget the essential. The essential people that matters the most, our people in the communities. And this is trying to pull all of us together. And I want to ask all of us to give support. If there are ways to improve this one, and if this law eats into and erodes the work of the organic law and provincial and local level government, which I do not see this law affecting that higher law. That higher law remains. The power of you is not taken away in as far as governorship is concerned. The power of districts is not taken away in as far as district work is concerned. Rather, it works and adds and augments these laws we have in a coordinated manner. The intention is to coordinate. And you talk about funding, through the normal budget process, if we do allocate money to the department concerned, they, with your allocations in the district, and Section 30 talks about the funding sources, may source funding from the national budget, or if you, the province, want to support, may source funding from you, or development partners, or other sources that are available in our country. And I want to say it is not creating new structure. It is pulling together all the different agencies. You now have the disability agencies, the women agencies, the church agencies, the civil registry agencies, all over the place. We're trying to pull them all together into one structure, give meaning to the Community Development Department as a central agency, centerpiece. It must not be seen as a little one, tucked away, like an appendix to the mainstream. This is not appendix to the mainstream. This is a key organ. It's dealing with the community, 80%, 90% of our people. And we ask ourselves, possibly in my district too, I don't pay special attention to the community development advisor. Yet he does his work. Who am I serving? The community people, the disabilities, the mothers, the women, etc., etc. So I want to give a fair go, us to give a fair go to this important bill for the first time. Our minister has taken serious effort into trying to pull all the different agencies around under one umbrella and one framework, making a system work, and also highlighting to the giants of Waigani, Secretary Treasury, Secretary Finance, Secretary Justice, and all the giants of Waigani, in an ex-officio capacity. If they're not available, the deputy or the designate, the proxy is available to try to address your district issues in as far as youth is concerned, women is concerned, child is concerned, community is concerned, your provincial issue. This one is to assist your provincial governments and districts amplify your community issue at a centralized level so that you get assisted better. And also all development partners who want to come in. I propose this bill for us to support. If there are any ways to improve, we have 1 year before 2027 elections. Suggest those ways where we can improve. Many times we all just come on the floor, and this bill was given to us, and I could understand. Only Tuesday it was put on notice and circulated, so some of you may not have read it properly, but take it home with you if this parliament does pass it. Take it home. In the heart of this is really the 80-90% of our community who've been left behind. We just have to bring them all into a centralized approach and hopefully approach them centralized, not for Waigani to do it. Waigani just coordinate, but for your districts and provinces to know important people are in our midst. I put question to this process, Mr. Deputy Speaker, and allow you to move it to the next stage.
Question put. The question is that the question be put. Those in favor say aye. Aye. Those against say no. Ayes have it. Clerk. Sorry. The question is that the bill now be read the second time. Those in favor say aye. Aye. And those against say no. Ayes have it. Clerk.
Second reading, a bill for an act A, to establish the National Community Development System, and B, to implement and coordinate the functions of the department responsible for community development and religious matters at the sub-national levels in a centralized manner.
Honourable members, I have to announce that I have received a message from His Excellency the Governor General dated 28 May 2025 recommending the expenditure of public money of Papua New Guinea in accordance with Section 210 of the Constitution insofar as the bill relates to and provides for such expenditure. Minister for Community Development, Religion and Youth.
Mr. Speaker, I ask leave of the Parliament to move the third reading forthwith.
Is leave granted? Minister for Community Development.
Mr. Speaker, I move the bill be now read a third time.
The question is that the question be put. Those in favor say aye. Aye. Those against say no. Ayes have it. The question is that the bill now be read a third time. In accordance with constitutional requirement, the bill must be passed by an absolute majority of 60 members. Clerk, please ring the bell. Tenants, close the door. The question is that the bill now be read the third time. Would those in favor please stand? Would those against please stand? Honourable Member for Kandep, we still have the counting in progress, so you may not step out of your seat. Honourable members, those who vote in favour of the bill 49 and noes 7. Leader of Government Business.
Acting Speaker, I move that, Deputy Speaker, pardon me, I move that the vote be rescinded and be made in order of another day.
Honourable Opposition Leader, what's your point of order?
Acting Speaker, this is an honourable House. All members of Parliament just took a vote and the vote has to be honoured. The vote just failed. You can't just, for your convenience, just rescind it. Thank you, Acting Speaker.
Honourable Deputy Opposition Leader, it's a motion and you can take a vote on that. The motion, the Leader of Government Business have brought to the House to rescind the decision, and that is a motion. So, Leader of Government Business. The question is that those who agree, the question is that the motion be agreed to. Those in favour say aye. Aye. And those against say no. No. Ayes have it. Clerk.
Notice number 141, Minister for Rural and Economic Development.
Minister for Rural and Economic Development.
Mr. Speaker, I present the Habas Amendment Bill 2025.
Clerk.
First reading, a bill for an act to amend Habas Act, Chapter 240 on provisions relating to the powers of the Independent Consumer and Competition Commission and for related purposes.
Minister for Rural and Economic Development.
Mr. Acting Speaker, I ask leave of the Parliament to move the second reading forthwith.
Is leave granted? Minister for Rural and Economic Development.
Mr. Speaker, I move that the bill be now read a second time.
Make your speech.
Mr. Acting Speaker, members of this Honourable House, and the people of Papua New Guinea, I present to this Honourable House the proposed amendment to the Habas Act, Chapter 240, to include undeclared ports in the definition of essential port services. Mr. Acting Speaker, the proposal to include undeclared ports in the definition of essential port services is to address the non-existence of competition in various ports around the country, which falls within the essential port services industry, which is a regulated industry and falls under the regulatory oversight of the Independent Consumer and Competition Commission. Mr. Acting Speaker, since the definition of essential port services does not include undeclared ports, This has created a loophole that has enabled private port operators to operate in a regulated industry where competition is almost non-existent. Mr. Acting Speaker, whether these ports were built by the state or privately owned and operated, there is no regulatory oversight over these undeclared ports, which has created inflated and artificial tariffs that in most cases do not reflect appropriately against the level of services provided and services that are not provided. Mr. Acting Speaker, the Independent Consumer and Competition Commission, or ICCC, is empowered by Section 5 of the Independent Consumer and Competition Commission Act of 2002 to promote economic efficiency and protect the long-term interest of consumers through prices and service standards while promoting competition in Papua New Guinea. Mr. Acting Speaker, the ICCC can only regulate the essential port services industry within the parameters of declared ports. Due to this loophole, this gives rise to instances where a private port operator will have market dominance in an isolated area, lacking land, sea, and air transport. Hence, the high costs charged by these port operators will be passed down to retail and wholesale prices of goods and services supplied to be borne by consumers. Mr. Acting Speaker, the ICCC hereby proposes a long-term solution to address this legislative issue by amending the definition of essential port services under the Act. Once this is addressed, the ICCC will use its declaration powers under Section 33, subsection 1A of the ICCC Act to declare any entity that supplies essential port services as a regulated entity giving rise to the regulation of prices and protection of consumer interests. With that, Mr. Acting Speaker, I commend the proposed amendments to the Harbours Act, chapter number 240, to this Honourable House. Thank you very much.
The question is that the question be put. Those in favour say aye. Those against say no. Ayes have it. The question is that the bill now be read the second time. Those in favour say aye. And those against say no. Ayes have it. Clerk.
Second reading, a bill for an act to amend the Harbours Act, chapter 240, on provisions relating to the powers of the Independent Consumer and Competition Commission and for related purposes.
Minister for Rural and Economic Development.
Mr. Acting Speaker, I ask leave of the Parliament to move the third reading forthwith.
Is leave granted? Minister for Rural and Economic Development.
Mr. Speaker, I move that the bill be now read a third time.
The Honourable Member for Abao.
Thank you, Acting Speaker. I want to fully support this amendment, which is well overdue. And I hope that in the definitions, ports like Kupiano and others will be also included, because many times some ships go and come, but no regulation covers them. And so I stand to support the Minister on this bill. And secondly and finally, thank you, Minister, for including the explanatory notes, which was missing from the previous one. Because explanatory notes makes it very clear, so we don't have to argue. Thank you very much.
The Honourable Prime Minister.
Mr. Deputy Speaker, me go quick time through the solve, but will commend the Minister. Plenty thing was you may just put him law pass him time, but he got plenty of key organs long. The government is stopped silent without tidying work. Today is an example of go inside Some loi outstanding lumla time needs to be done. We start clearing up in the face of our country's 50th. Milak Sanap law support him and make him talk. All private port operators law country. Country, you come inside, you must announce him, SIP come inside, now SIP you go outside. Whether you come Karam DY or get some coffee or you come to private port display too, when look laws. Some port operate close to PNG port sanction port operations. In along stopping work long all, but operate in a manner in which you may clear us and only work good. Planty, porty, Karam can get something where so for the last 50 years, you will not clear Karam on come inside. So this is a leak law, but then we go or walk him sure that you may clear. Besides through operating port, now one can port start. Port long all DY operations, port long all agricultural operations. And so I just want to take this time to indicate to all out there who operate in ports. It is not to suppress you, but just to ensure that we know what's happening out there, what are you doing. We have a government that is in place, report on what's happening out there, and for us to take stock correctly, because it is through these ports and through our airports and through our borders where many of things not produced in our country are coming into our country. We want to make sure we have regulation in that space. Thank you, Thomas.
The question is that the question be put. Those in favor say aye. And those against say no. I say it. The question is that the bill now be read the third time. Those in favor say aye. And those against say no. I say it. Clerk.
Third reading. A bill for an act to amend the Abbas Act, Chapter 240, on provisions relating to the powers of the Independent Consumer and Competition Commission and for related purposes.
Thank you, Minister. One more. Clerk.
Notice number 142, Minister for Rural and Economic Development.
Mr. Acting Speaker, I present the Prices Regulation Amendment Bill 2025.
Clerk.
First reading, a bill for an Act A to amend the Prices Regulation Act, Chapter 320, and B to regulate prices for the sale of certain goods and supply of certain services, and C to promote competition and consumer protection and for related purposes.
Minister for Rural and Economic Development.
Mr. Acting Speaker, I ask leave of the Parliament to move the second reading forthwith.
Yes, leave granted. Minister for Rural and Economic Development.
Mr. Speaker, I move that the bill be now read a second time.
Minister, make your speech.
Mr. Acting Speaker and members of this Honorable House, it gives me great pleasure to introduce to you the proposed amendment to the Prices Regulation Act, Chapter 320, which aims to determine and enforce maximum price margins during a declared period or national emergency and update the general penalty provisions. Mr. Acting Speaker, on 23rd March 2020, a state of emergency was declared under Part X, Emergency Powers of the Constitution, to prevent, detect, contain, and mitigate the effects of the global coronavirus pandemic, or COVID-19, in Papua New Guinea. Mr. Speaker, to coordinate the national emergency response to the pandemic, the Emergency Controller, appointed under the Emergency General Provisions COVID-19 Regulations 2020, issued emergency orders under the regulations to deal with the state of emergency, including any matters arising from it. This legal framework formed the basis for the state of emergency and subsequent actions taken during this period. Mr. Acting Speaker, the National Emergency Order 19, which dealt with the price monitoring and regulation during a declared period or national emergency, was made under the Emergency Regulations 2020 Order 19. Order 19 was subsequently replaced by National Emergency Order number 8, just issued under the Emergency General Provisions COVID-19 Act of 2020 in identical terms. Mr. Acting Speaker and members of this Honorable House, to implement Order number 8, the Independent Consumer and Competition Commission, the ICCC, carried out price surveillance exercises throughout the country to ensure that businesses supplying the declared goods and services were not engaged in price gouging. Concerning the declared goods and services, the ICCC operations were carried out in all provinces except the autonomous region of Bougainville. Mr. Acting Speaker and honorable members of this Honorable House, there are two areas of concern under the current Act. Firstly, the Act specifically does not empower the ICCC to monitor and regulate prices during a declared period or a national emergency. Hence, the implementation operations mentioned above were under the Emergency General Provisions COVID-19 Act of 2020, which is substituted by the National Pandemic Act of 2020. And secondly, the general penalty provisions under the Act are lesser and would be seen by prospective offenders in its current form as just a slap on the wrist and not a meaningful enough deterrent to prevent contraventions of the Act. Mr. Acting Speaker and honorable members, these amendments will address these grave concerns of the ICCC in depth. Firstly, the proposed amendment to the Act seeks to insert a new Part 3A, which provides for special powers of the Commission. The special powers of the Commission and its provisions, in a sense, will empower the ICCC to appropriately exercise its powers and functions to determine, monitor, and regulate maximum price margins of certain goods and services on time during a declared period under the National Pandemic Act or National Emergency under Part X of the Constitution. And secondly, the proposed amendment to the general penalty provisions of the Act to increase the penalties to reprimand offenders and act as a deterrent against the contraventions of the Act. With that, Mr. Acting Speaker, I commend the proposed amendments to the Price Regulations Act, Chapter 320, to this Honourable House. Thank you.
The Honourable Minister for Fisheries.
Thank you, Acting Speaker, and I thank the good Minister for this amendment. In the COVID times, we had to do what we had to do to ensure that the price of imported goods and medicines that came in were regulated to ensure that our people could easily access these goods and services. And I thank the Minister for his paper now. It brings back the Commission where they can actually do some due diligence in ensuring that the price that we have now, because the economy has grown, the importation of goods and services has returned. So it is about this time that this Commission gets together, and the amendment is well in tune to do this at this point of time. My concern with the paper, not a concern, but an agreement with the Minister, is that the punishment and for the price control and the engagement of the price control to ensure that it deters people from price gouging. It deters people from raising the cost of essential goods and services is very welcome, because it's happening in our country, and I thank the Minister for his foresight in this and bringing this paper in, and I look forward to helping him to get people to ensure that they go to all provinces in our country to ensure that the price is the right price for our people. Thank you.
The question is that the question be put. Those in favor say aye.
Aye.
And those against say no. Ayes have it. The question is that the bill now be read the second time. Those in favor say aye. And those against say no. Ayes have it. Clerk.
Reading a bill for an act, A, to amend the Price Regulation Act, Chapter 320, and B, to regulate prices for the sale of certain goods and supply of certain services, and C, to promote competition and consumer protection and for related purposes.
Minister for Rural and Economic Development.
Mr. Acting Speaker, I ask leave of the Parliament to move the third reading forthwith.
Is leave granted? Minister for Rural and Economic Development.
Mr. Speaker, I move that the bill be now read a third time.
The question is that the question be put. Those in favor say aye. And those against say no. Ayes have it. The question is that the bill now be read the third time. Those in favor say aye. And those against say no. Ayes have it. Clerk.
Third reading, a bill for an act, A, to amend Price Regulation Act, Chapter 320, and B, to regulate prices for the sale of certain goods and supply of certain services, and C, to promote competition and consumer protection and for related purposes.
Thank you, Minister. Leader of Government Business.
Acting Speaker, I ask leave of Parliament to move a motion without notice.
Leave granted.
Aye.
Leader of Government Business.
Acting Speaker, I move that Parliament at its rising adjourn until Tuesday 3rd June, April 2025 at 10 o'clock p.m. or a.m.
The question is that the motion be agreed to. Those in favor say aye.
Aye.
And those against say no. Honourable members, I now adjourn Parliament to Tuesday 3rd at 10 o'clock a.m. to 3rd of June at 10 o'clock a.m.